Good day, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Viper's of Viperland, and I'm back. We got Fata Morgana. Been a little while. We kind of left this off because we had other games and other priorities, and we still have those games, but couldn't leave this for too long, especially considering where we left off, where bad things were about to happen. I know that doesn't narrow things down. Also, hey, 7th and Birdie, how you both doing? Hope your weekends have gone well. It's a Sunday night, got Monday tomorrow, but it'll be fine. Yeah. The brothel's just, about to be attacked, about to have bad things happen. I still can't believe we're on the first bit of the 3 of the post-credit things. Game big. Was that sounded like a scream? Trouble with a client, maybe? Yeah, the music definitely makes it seem like it's going to be just that. No, it didn't sound like that kind of scream. Something's wrong. I can feel it in my gut. Maria, I need you to take the girls down to the cellar now. Alright, I'll send them down, but I'm coming with you to see what's up. It could just be a client causing a ruckus. No, you go with the girls. I'll check it out. Now get moving. Okay, I'm going. Wake up, Siren, come on. Now. Yeah, good times are gonna totally. Following the first, there were several more screams intermingled with what sounded like men shouting from the guest rooms. Something very bad was happening out there. My sword is back at the armory, damn it. Taking a brief detour to the kitchen to grab a knife, I then dashed through the corridor towards the source of the disturbance. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Shoving my way past a several-layer thick makeshift curtain. Yeah, it's, Ah, no, help! Yeah, it's, stay back, I'm just a customer, I don't have anything. I think they're just cutting down everyone, yeah. What the hell was I seeing? A lot of blood. And a lot of people dying. Why was this happening? Is seriously all they got? My shit's worth more than most of this garbage. I mean, you decided to attack this place. Take the whores alive, you hear me? Yeah, they're doing a terrible job of that. I'll probably sell for more than anything else we find. They were laying waste to the brothel. Untrained, unarmed, and unclothed, the girls and their clients alike were helpless against the slaughter being rained down upon them. Bludgeoned, mutilated, massacred. A good dozen men, thieves by the look of it, had swarmed the brothel, utterly ravaging it. Blood splattered every which way, staining the colorful fabrics hanging on the walls. The stench of blood, screams of agony, cries of fear, and hoots of mad glee all blended into one sickening blur. Nearly stepped into the chaos, but stopped myself at the last second. I was furious. Of course I was. I knew those girls, and this band of barbarians was slaughtering them before my very eyes. I wanted nothing more than to charge in and rescue all of them, but I also knew damn well that me charging in there alone would accomplish nothing. God damn it. Why now? Why here? Why? And how did they get so many men in here? If there were any signs of organized movement, someone would have noticed. I would have heard about it. How did they manage to sneak past everyone we have on patrol? How is it even possible a bunch of damned bandits managed to organize a raid of this scale without anyone catching wind of it? Ah, damn it. There's no saving anyone in the guest room. I need to find whoever else I can and get them out through the back. As soon as I decided there was nothing I could do here, my next job was obviously to minimize any further loss of life. I knew logically it was the smart thing to do, but that knowledge didn't do anything to quell the anger roiling around inside. And then another thought snapped to the front of my mind, rattling me further. Why can't I get my mic in the right spot ever? Anna. She had said she was going to the bathroom, which meant she hadn't come this way. Or so I dearly hoped. But hope wasn't enough to overcome the fear that she had. I searched frantically for any sign of her. More panicked than even I realized. I knew exactly what one of these brutes would do to Morgana if they happened across her. A prostitute in decent health they would merely take captive, but seeing Morgana's face they would assume she had kind of disease, assume some kind of disease, and they would kill her without a second thought. Morgana. Intending to take my search elsewhere, I set off. my shadow subtly darkening, but in too much of a rush to notice. Something seemed to crash into me from behind. The world flashed in and out of view. For a split second, the multicolored fabrics around me appeared in black and white. I barely held on to my consciousness. A few seconds later, the pain set in. My gaze drifted downwards to the curious protrusion in my stomach, the tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along the metal surface. What? I twisted my body, distinctly aware of every minuscule movement of the blade as it slid through raw flesh back out of the hole it had entered. It was almost enough to make my legs buckle. When I finally managed to turn all the way around, there stood a large man, probably grim. He kicked me backwards, and then... Also, hey, Sora, how you doing? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. Rammed his heel through the gash in my stomach. Jeez. Let out an animalistic howl. It was a pain unlike any I had ever experienced before. Yeah, I can't imagine being run through by a sword and then kicked where you were stabbed is anything but the worst. It felt as though I'd been struck by lightning. The only thing I had room for in my mind was overwhelming agony. And before long, it reached its breaking point. Damn it. And the whole world went black. Yeah. Is the mic not working in the way I want it? It's just a little too high on the game. Maybe a little too low. Can never really tell. Whatever. Jacobo, wake up, please. Open your eyes. Can't have you dying on me too. I'm begging you, open your eyes. I mean, I don't know how he lived that, but, you know, we take those. Jacopo. Where am I? The back room of the brothel. I'm alive? Where is she? Lie back down, or are you trying to kill yourself? You're hurt bad enough as it is. I've been bandaged up. They're still bright red. I guess the bleeding hasn't stopped. I'm cold. Swear to God, I was sure I'd lost you. Maria, are you crying? Got a problem with that? Asshole. Sorry. How many years has it been since I last saw her cry? It was back when she was 12, I think? Besides us, there are 2 other girls here. No sign of Morgana or Siren. This can't be everyone who made it, can it? I have to see. What did I just say? Lie your ass back down. You need to give it some time to heal before you move around much. It's clearly not going to listen. Jacopo. Honestly, just knock him back out. Ignoring Maria's pleas, I stumbled my way towards the guest room, leaning against the wall for support. I had evidently lost quite a bit of blood. Yeah, you don't say. I was freezing cold and constantly on the edge of vomiting. My body was heavy, like someone had strapped a boulder to my back, and my vision swirled, distorting with each step I took. I knew it wasn't that long of a walk from the back to the front, but it felt like it would take me ages just to get down this hall. Like I was on an endless march towards a vast, empty abyss. I had braced myself, but what I felt when I stepped into that room was a despair too deep for words. The meager scraps of strength that had carried me this far dissipated, and I slowly slid down to my knees. The door hung open, a blood-soaked curtain flapping in the wind. The deep crimson was a stark contrast against the brightly colored fabric. The girls had dyed it themselves. I could still remember Maria first telling me about it, however many years before, her eyes alight with pride. How, when you put a whole bunch of different colors together, it made the place seem almost otherworldly. And the patrons who had been drawn in by its allure today had not found themselves in the land of milk and honey, but instead been cast into a pit of death. Several corpses lay motionless around the room, their faces twisted in agony, their eyes vacant. What the hell? Why, how could this happen? I asked, stupefied, neither expecting an answer, nor trying to place the blame on anyone's shoulders. It was an empty, meaningless lamentation, powerless as the man who had uttered it. All of us had felt the same way, hopeless, helpless, horrified. Not more than an hour ago, we had been having a party, for God's sake, fooling around like a bunch of idiots, the girls complaining about their clients, plates of food specially made for her birthday. Her birthday. Where's Morgana? I couldn't find her. Why not? I'm sorry, I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell her I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If anyone, it was myself I was disappointed in. How could I have failed to keep her safe?
Ramen.
Yo, Ramen. The raid. You missed the raid. People were getting murdered. We got shanked from behind all the way through the stomach. We turn around to see the guy. He kicks us in the wound. We pass out. Maria bandages us up. We get up to look for Morgana. We are now looking for Morgana. Barely bandaged up. Still bleeding. Not doing well. A lot of people died. Why was I so damn powerless? This was supposed to be a good day for her. I'd wanted to make Morgana's 12th birthday into a special occasion, something truly memorable, to celebrate the bright future ahead of her. And I had failed in the worst way imaginable. What was supposed to be a celebration of life had ended in a pile of corpses, most of the surviving girls taken captive, and the brothel in shambles. And Morgana, who it was all supposed to be for, was most likely dead as well. She was dead. Morgana was dead. Before I had the chance to say anything, the girl I loved was gone. Yeah, so everyone's having a bad day, yeah? All because I was weak. Because I hadn't been cautious enough. Because I was completely, utterly powerless. And now she was gone for good. Before I had managed to make her smile even once. I was going to show her the world. How full of myself was I? I hadn't done a single damned thing for her. I feel like you can kind of see how he'd go for a grasp at power after this. Physical strength was meaningless for what I wanted to achieve. What good was being number 2 in our little band of peacekeepers if I couldn't even stand up to a pack of bandits? Didn't have any real power. I was worthless, helpless, weak. My sole job was to keep this place safe. It was painfully clear now how unsuited to the task I was. My initial fears were right. It was only the 4 of us who had made it through the assault. Maria said that, while they had made it to the cellar safely, they were soon discovered and most of the girls taken captive. Also, hey Ark, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland, the chat, and depression. You know, the usual. Saren included. If only she had quit, left the brothel, taken up singing at the pub, then she could have been spared this. Spared having to be kidnapped for a 3rd time. But because she thought of us as a family, because she cared about and wanted to be with us, she was taken away. If I had power, this all could have been prevented. Not physical strength or skill with a blade, but real meaningful power. Political influence, import. If I weren't a peasant, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever consider raiding my property. I could have hired guards to watch over the brothel. The only reason the Lord, that reprehensible man, was still alive was because he had real power, enough to assure his own safety. Yes and no, because at the same time, didn't you raid his building and come within, blades with of killing the man? Oh, that show is going to be so good to watch. Like, that is a powerful episode 1. A truly powerful episode 1. Also, if you've watched it, the main gal, does she remind you of anyone? Because I absolutely see in her the the chick from Beetlejuice, the animated series. It's the hair. Like, if you took the chick from Beetlejuice and just stretched her vertically, it's the same hair, it's the same knowledge of the supernatural and obsession over it. And yeah, the entire time. Yeah. So that was my thoughts. But boy, was that an episode where a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened. And nobody expects Godbert. Nobody expects Godbert. Oh, did you see it too, Ramen? That one's more surprising. Ark I expect. Ramen, less so. It's an episode, man. It's an episode. Ooh. If I had that kind of power, everyone would still be here, safe and sound. I could have made certain of that. Maria wouldn't be crying. Saren would still be a part of our family. I definitely remember her name being pronounced a different way, but it's too late. She's dead, and I'm just going to be wrong during the stream. So we're dealing with that. And she, Morgana, would still be alive. She would still be at my side. That one simple thing could keep anything like this from happening again. In short order, Gratian burst into the brothel. It's been long enough that I forget some of the name pronunciations. It was a J sound, wasn't it? Yeah. I just remember it was definitely not how I'm saying it now. Quick drop 2 episodes. Oh, nifty. Okay. Seeing the carnage, he wailed in grief, which quickly transformed in fury. I watched on, only really half paying attention as he raged. He marched over and said something or another, though I couldn't say what. After the fact, Maria told me that I'd been in a stupor the whole time Gratian was there. Yeah, can't imagine how or why. He'd apparently tried to cheer me up, though soon found himself frustrated and finally disappointed in me. I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to be cheered up at that particular juncture. Took 3 days for me to get back up, even if I didn't actively blame myself for it. Even if I was just a bystander there, I don't know if I'd be able to be cheered up day 1 or 10. Yeah. There was no sign of Morgana's body anywhere in the ruins of the brothel, which meant there was a chance, however slight, she was still alive. I clutched tight to that tiny sliver of hope, searching desperately for any sign of her. Oh, true, at this rate, she's meeting Bestia. Maybe she had realized something was wrong and gone into hiding, but no matter how many people I talked to, no one had seen anyone who matched her description. She was just gone, like a puff of smoke, which left 2 possibilities. Either she'd been taken along with the other girls to be sold off, or she had been killed and her body disposed of somewhere out of sight. While the latter seemed significantly more likely, deep down I still yearned for even the slightest trace of her. Maria encouraged me to let go, to move on, though I knew her well enough to know it wasn't out of a lack of compassion. The whole affair had visibly taken its toll on me. Excuse me. One day, about a week later, my wound still healing, I made my way through the slums. It is worth remembering, this is still the first of the 3 chapters that we unlocked post-credits. This is still the first one. Holy crap. Nestled away in an alleyway stood a nondescript little shack. I knocked on the door, and a few moments later it slid barely half an inch open, just enough for the sole resident to peer out at me, suspicion clearly visible in her eyes. But once she realized it was me, warmth filled her gaze, and she waved for me to come inside. We're going to be here for a good while. A gesture that somehow made it feel like I was being invited into another world entirely. Beyond the door stood a noblewoman who held herself with an elegance and grace unbefitting of the slums, but a darkness that felt right at home. I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. I'm so glad to see you're well. You were concerned about my safety? The woman pulled back her hood, revealing her face. Though age had clearly been taking its toll on her, there was still a striking beauty to her, kind of beauty impossible to obtain down here in the dregs of society. Her hair was a burnt brown, her skin dark, and her facial structure somewhat similar to mine. I remembered then that this wasn't the first time I had seen her, though it was fairly recently, not the many years ago she would have me believe. We had briefly crossed paths on the day of the Midsummer Festival. The woman I had bumped into, that was her. Of course, show me a mother who is not always concerned about her child's safety. The woman's name was Ginevra. Just gonna assume that ain't how it's pronounced. Over to Google Translate. Go. Because I'm always gonna be wrong. Alright.
Ginevra.
Really?
Ginevra.
Alright.
Ginevra.
Sure. It's not far off from what I thought, so. Italian this time. Oh, I was doing it from French, so let's see Italian. Okay.
Ginevra.
Oh.
Ginevra.
It was really not far off from... I did the usual thing where I reversed two letters, but like upon rereading it, really isn't far off from like phonetic. And she claimed to have been a maidservant for the previous lord. It was unusual enough for someone of her stature to be living in a rundown shack in the slums, but her story got even stranger. She had supposedly had intimate relations with him. She had borne his illegitimate son. And a month earlier, she had come to me and said I was that child. Says the woman I'd never seen until a month ago. Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love. If you had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you, you would have never been in that kind of danger. Ginevra spoke as though she knew exactly what had been going through my mind this past week. The very words that had dominated my thoughts as I looked out upon the wreckage. If only I had done as she had said and asserted my nobility, then I would have had the power to prevent the attack on the brothel, to protect the people I loved. If what Ginevra had said was true, the Barnier family once possessed more land than even the king. That land and the family was divided up between each of their sons. The Barniers were only a few generations removed from the current royal family, which is why they controlled so much land in the first place. And that meant, though it had diluted with each successive generation, there was still royal blood in the Barnier bloodline. And a child begotten by the previous lord was more than entitled to a place among the nobility. However, realistically speaking, even if I had lent my ear to her cajolery, it wouldn't have changed anything. Or worse, I could very well no longer be in this world. I wasn't stupid. This noblewoman, she was just using me. There's still time. Go to the Lord's manor. Show him. Not really your son, am I? Ginevra fell silent for a moment, observing me. I had no memories of my mother. Sure, it might be nice if she were to show back up someday, but it just wasn't likely. Her whole story was extremely contrived. The sun could decide to rise from the west one day, and there would still not be a drop of noble blood in my veins. I knew perfectly well how filthy the blood in me was. Discussions will progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Were you actually a maidservant for the previous lord? Yes, I was. She gave a nod, then walked over to a grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. Me learning new words? No. Coaxing or flattery intended to persuade someone to do something. Okay. It's made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. Oh, also, next weekend, on Sunday, I'm going to round one with Calico, Afro, and one of our friends, because they're about to move to the West Coast, and we wanted to do one big, like, celebratory thing before they leave. And then Monday, I'm going to round one because I hyped it up to my brother, so both of my brothers and I are going on Monday. I think what actually convinced my brother to be hyped for it. I mean, he goes with my nephew all the time to Dave & Buster's. I was like, it's basically the same thing, but a ton of crane games. And I showed him the Eevee I won last time. I think that pushed him over. So, double back-to-back mall days, which I'm not complaining about. I kind of grew up a bit of a mall rat. The city I grew up in had a fairly sizable mall with a big gathering area in the middle. It was just the de facto gathering point, so I kind of like mall food and mall pretzels and just hanging around a mall, so I'm not really upset about the fact. And round one is fun. It just means I won't dump all my money the Sunday. I'll just, do half of it then, half of it Monday. Everything works fine. I was like, oh, I messaged my brother this morning, like, oh, going on Sunday, do you want to come with? And he's like, no, I'm busy Sunday. Damn, I was going to do that with you and our other brother on Monday. I was like, I don't see why that has to change. At all. In what universe does me going to a mall one day mean I shouldn't go the next day? At all. Oh, hello, stupid bot. Goodbye, stupid bot. So, yeah. Generally speaking, unless we leave really late, I'll still probably be back that Monday for streaming. I'll definitely be back Sunday. We usually come back with plenty enough time because I still got to walk the dogs and everything anyway. So Monday is a potential up in the air depending on when we leave, but should still be okay. There wasn't a metal worker anywhere in the slums or the city proper at that who could craft a piece so intricate. Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me the ring as a gift. I've kept it ever since, even after our relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it because I knew I was with child. They will have no choice but to acknowledge you as a legitimate heir if you show them this ring. Why did you wait so long to come find me then? I was afraid they might kill you if I brought you in as a baby. Why were we separated? Misfortune. One day, bandits came and kidnapped you. Yeah, this was a time we could just blame anything on bandits. And usually probably be right anyway. Presumably they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence coming to light. Then why wouldn't they kill him? Consider it a miracle you're still alive. I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to Ginevra speak. Part of me did indeed want to take everything she said as true. Wanted to believe I was someone important. Wanted to grab hold of the fantasy that I did have noble blood in me and never let go of it. And had I not come face to face with my own powerlessness a week earlier, perhaps I could have swallowed the delusion, used it as a stepping stone for my dream to show Morgana the world. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family, to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. If I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away or never existed at all. It's probably true that you worked at the Barnier's manor, and it's probably true that you had relations with the former lord. You were chased out, and now you live in poverty. You want to go back to your former, more comfortable life, and while you're at it, take vengeance on the current lord. Or perhaps you simply want the entire noble class to suffer. The specifics of your motives are irrelevant, though. Being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that yourself, so you came up with the idea of using a fake son. If your child was still alive, he would be right about my age, wouldn't he? And we look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I've made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in inciting the revolt 3 years ago. The perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic. The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people would eat it right up. So, how far off am I? Huh. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely. I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. But her insults didn't bother me in the slightest. Those words made so much more sense than any mad claim that I had royal blood in me, that I was some kind of hero. Following suit, I twisted my lips up into a smirk. I was a filthy peasant, and I was fine with that. All it meant was that I had to claw my way to the top. I'm in. See, all I had to do is just tell the truth. Ginevra and I then discussed the details of her scheme, after which she gave me the Barnier's ring. I doubt anyone would have ever imagined it would end up in the grimy hands of a slum rat. Once our discussion was done, I headed straight to the pub where the rest of the gang liked to congregate. Good, Jacopo! Should you really be on your feet so soon? Fine, thanks. I'm glad to hear it. And I'm so sorry about what happened to the brothel. Is the gang here? Jeez, 8,000. 8,000. Screaming barmaid, best character, yes. Unnamed yet screaming barmaid. Unless her name is actually barmaid, which I guess would be prophetic of her parents. What? Oh, yes, near the back. Thank you. Are you sure you're okay? Look what the cat dragged in. I was just talking about going to whip your sorry ass back into shape. How dare you to be depressed hours after everyone you know and love ever has been slaughtered before your eyes and you almost died. Yeah, no, she died. She didn't die. She was kidnapped again, though. She was taken away. And considering everyone else on the slave transport with Morgana died too. We don't know she was on that cart. We don't know, because from Morgana's point of view, she never mentioned her whatsoever. We only know about her from these chapters. If she was on that transport, she's dead, and Bestia killed her. If she wasn't on that transport, she is far away from the story we are encountering now. Closing in a year's worth of hours watched. Yeah. That is... So... That is a lot. Yeah. Closing in on a year's worth of hours watched, like a year's worth of watch time, is bananas. Crazy. Crazy. But also true and happening. Close to a year of actual watch time and 100-month resubscriptions. Insanity. Utter insanity. I'm too old for this. Holy crap. You ain't still moping, are you? Yeah, it must be really nice to see everyone you know and love murdered and be able to bounce back. I don't think that's a thing most humans can do. I get it, kid, I do. It's bollocks, but you're a man. Ah, yes. Men can't have emotions. Except anger and punching things. Instead of crying, you should be... Gratien. Yeah? It's time we started ourselves a revolution. Are you just gonna stare at me or actually say something? You're the ones always going on about revolution this, revolution that. I think it's called being shocked to silence. I'm serious about this, Jacopo. Am I the one to joke about this sort of thing? No. No, you're not. You sure as hell aren't, are you? Well, it's about damn time, if I do say so myself. I knew you'd come around eventually. I knew you wouldn't stay sulky forever. Things will get way better once we rip that fucker's head off. Should cut down on the number of people turning to thievery, so we'll never have to deal with anything like what happened at the brothel again. Never again, you hear me? Indeed. What do you have in mind, Jacopo? Didn't you say we needed help from a noble to have a chance? We can figure that out after we crush the Lord's skull. Yeah, I don't think that's the best plan. What's gotten into you all? You're always going on about how you want to stage a revolution. Now that we're actually talking about it, you're pussying out? Maybe we just like talking about revolting and not the thought of actually revolt. No one's pussying out. It's just... We have a noble. For real? Well, if you got it all worked out, why didn't you just say so? So who's our guy? Who's the noble who's agreed to give us a hand? Former Lord's illegitimate son. His actual son? Really? That means he could legitimately inherit the lordship. Whoa, how the hell do you get in bed with the biggest fish in the city? If you tell them the truth, this is huge. That don't just give us a leg to stand on, that puts the damn law on our side. So how hard it'll be to set up a meeting with the guy? This ain't some measly uprising. If we're going through with this, I'd like to see our royal sponsor for myself. Count before changing. Yes, but I transferred over the hours as best I could. So yes, but it still should be accurate. It was Mitz and Potts who I both transferred over as much as I could. You're looking at him. Say what? I am the former Lord's son. Yeah, no, that's the correct reaction. Laugh at him. No way, not a chance. Seriously, kid? You need to find yourself a functioning sense of humor, because that just ain't funny. I'm telling the truth. And this ring proves it. It's a nice ring and all, but how does it prove you're Barnier? Where did you... How... This is the real deal. I was a slave at the Lord's Manor for a while. I've seen the family crest enough to recognize it. I think I finally got the... I don't know what I did to hit the... No, there it goes again. I don't know what I did to hit the back of the mic to make it so that I was peaking more often. I'm trying to live dial it in to back to the setting it was. Where I'm not too quiet, but I'm not peaking all the time either. It's a, balancing act. Always fine. As I said, I'm not the kind of person to joke about this sort of thing. But I think I'm just going to end up with it too low, always. What? So, wait, you're really... Holy shit, I can't believe it! One of us is an actual noble! You always did seem a little not like the rest of us, Jacopo. More uptight. Pretty sure I said the same thing when I first met you. You look like some rich aristocrat kid. This is great, guys. We can actually do this. We can actually make this happen. Let's do it. Let's start a revolution. Yeah! Gratien? Nah, it's nothing. Just surprise is all. Who'd have frickin' thought? You, a noble. It's madness. How long have you known? And why didn't you tell me? Thought we were friends. Only found out recently. Sorry for keeping it from you. It all happened very suddenly. I was waiting for the right time to say something. No need to apologize, kid. Just put the wind back in our sails. Don't think I'm going to start buttering you up just because you're a bona fide stick-it-up-the-ass type now, though. Of course not. Last thing I want to see is you licking my feet. Excuse me. And at that line, all the Fujoshis turn around and leave. As if they would have made it this far in this game anyway. Alright, fellas, we got ourselves a noble, so let's set the date and get this ball rolling. Yeah. The Frau out. What had once been nothing more than a pipe dream was against all odds soon to be a reality. Everyone wanted the Lord removed from power. They were angry and frustrated, and on several occasions had even seriously considered resorting to another revolt to make it happen. But no one had been able to turn these emotions into actions, because they all knew how a revolt was destined to be quashed before it made any difference. Is this chapter longer than his original chapter in the story? Because I feel like it might be. That there was no hope to be found down that path. But an actual revolution, that was another story, especially with someone poised to take the Lord's place on their side. They had a fighting chance, and they had no reason not to take it. As the fire in their eyes swelled to a blaze, mine seemed to sputter out, leaving behind a withered husk. I felt as though I was sitting in a theater, watching on as the story unfolded before me. No, that didn't quite capture how I felt. I wasn't even watching it with my own eyes. I'm merely listening quietly as someone recounted for me their heroic deeds. The fact that I was an indispensable part of this operation still hadn't fully sunk in. All I knew was that I wasn't completely powerless anymore. But while fiery passion and hope for the future filled Gratien and the rest of the gang, a dark, poisonous revulsion for God and fate streamed in to fill the hole left in me by the attack on the brothel. You mean the literal hole in you, or the emotional hole, or both? Preparations proceeded smoothly with Ginevra providing inside information and guidance. As I had expected, there were a not insignificant number of nobles dissatisfied with the way Barnier ruled, and they were constantly looking for a way to eradicate the cloud of pestilence hanging over the land. However, the Lord had eyes elsewhere in the upper circles, and he was everywhere in the upper circles, and he was especially mindful of who is associated with whom, and how often. Any signs of opposition were swiftly dealt with before they had a chance to pose any threat. So the nobility needed an outsider, someone the Lord wasn't on the lookout for, to step up and assert power. Ginevra arranged for several guards and attendants within the Lord's manor to betray him on the day of the revolution. They would open the doors for us from the inside, and we would storm the manor. Structurally, the plan was similar to the slave revolt. The two major differences being my role, and the Lord's death being our primary goal. As the day drew nearer, it was all anyone in the slum seemed to be talking about. Somehow he doesn't... I mean, I don't think the Lord listens to slum people, so it's expected, I guess. Gotta be hydrated. Pretty important. Because, like, when's it gonna end? Even if it ends when he takes over for the Lord, that's still a little ways away. And what if it continues going? Like, dang. The Vanillaware does not disappoint. Hard stop. Yeah, we played that when it came out. It took us a little while to finish it because it came out at the same time as a bunch of other stuff, but did play it through, did beat it, had a great time. There's a reason they make a ton of statues of a ton of the characters, especially the elves and the magic users, we'll go with. Yeah. You could honestly play it just for the art. Yeah, that's also true. But it's also a good game, so that helps a ton as well. Yeah, love the game. As the day knew... Oh yeah, I read that. Though we did our best to encourage everyone to stay quiet so as to not alert the Lord, it was impossible to keep the excitement contained. It wasn't long before word reached Maria's ears. She approached me, pale as a ghost, and attempted to talk me out of it. Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up a new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our days. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I've got left, Jacopo. She was practically begging, which she almost never did. While I sympathized with her, Maria's desperation did nothing to try my resolve. And before long, the day was finally upon us. Hear me, my fellow citizens, who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed Lord. Within me flows the blood of the previous Lord. I am the rightful heir. Behold, the Barnier's golden ring, proof that I am of noble birth. Victims of this terrible tyrant, the time has come to start anew, and I shall be the one to lead you down that path. The poor, the hungry, the depraved, all of you, stand with me. Stopped with the emails. Ugh, that sucks. Before we commenced our strike on the Lord's Manor, I gave a little speech in the city square, not because we actually needed them to take up arms and fight with us, but because we needed them to make a public proclamation of our position before overthrowing the Lord. They needed to know we were not merely opponents of the Lord, but proponents of the common man, that we had a legitimate cause and a legitimate claim to power. If we were to leave them in the dark, it would only sow confusion and unrest when the word of the Lord's death came out. They had to see us as their liberators, not a greater evil swooping in to squash a lesser one. The Lord had been squeezing everything he could out of them for years, sucking them dry, so I didn't expect anyone to actually have the willpower to join us. The important thing was that they knew who I was, but I had underestimated them. A slow trickle of people stood to join us, and by the time we were at the city's edge, we had accumulated dozens of additional men, transforming our little uprising into something of a much greater scale. The people had been waiting, day in and day out, for someone to take up their banner and lead the way. It didn't matter that the one holding the banner did so under false pretense. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but... Yep, that is even worse. Intruders, we're under attack! Yeah! Get 'em! Well, with the added support, our forces rendered the manor's defenses practically useless. Townsfolk flooded the property, overwhelming even fully armored soldiers. Farmers turned the tools of their trade into deadly weapons, plunging all manners of spiked implements onto guards' necks. Didn't take long for the pungent stench of blood to fill the air. Panicked servants scrambled away from the chaos as quickly as they could manage. And I made my way through the corridors to the great hall, where the Lord presumably waited, Gratian at my side. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more you can do. If they truly screw you over, you can try to get your money back, but hopefully, like, you just get the game. We're here to relieve you of your head lord. These savages have these savages removed from my property immediately. Yes, my lord. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Defenses here are heaviest here. Watch yourself, Gratian. You shove that concern right back where it came from, kid. I ain't about to let a bunch of mooks do me in. Mooks is a great word. No number of these pansy little fuckers is enough to take me down. That is a lie, and you know it. Is there any situation capable of tampering that big mouth of yours? Can handle all the guards, then. I'll take care of the lord. You want to take the prize all for yourself, eh, kid? Normally, I tell you to piss off. But I'll give you this one. It's what the people would want besides. Thank you for understanding. But remember, if you screw the pooch, I'll make sure you're the laughingstock of the whole city. Don't worry, I will come back with his head. The fact that Barnier was still here suggested he knew he had nowhere safer to flee to. Unlike the slave revolt 3 years prior, we were entirely on the offensive this time. He didn't appear particularly perturbed about his predicament, though. He likely had little doubt he would make it through the day safely. I knew Barnier was skilled with a sword, and despite all Gratien's talk, the guards he kept by his side were hardly going to be third-rate. They would be the best of the best. Praying Gratien would be able to hold them off long enough, I weaved my way through the wall of armored men, marching straight for Lord Barnier. He slowly drew his sword, readying himself for combat. Well, imagine that. It's you again. I'd assumed you had died off in a hole somewhere. Hate to disappoint you, but staying alive is one of my few talents. How fitting for a filthy maggot. Well, hope you're ready to be devoured by that very maggot. Sure. Oh. It seems your tongue has gotten rather sharp since we last met, though I needn't remind you how this played out 3 years ago, do I? You know, a lot can happen in 3 years. We had motivation to train for 3 years. You had motivation to keep being rich and throwing parties. Your blade will never get anywhere near my head. I will, however, give you a good reminder of precisely how feeble and worthless you slum rats are. Within me flows the blood of the royal family, direct descendants of God himself. While your blood is made from the refuse of the earth. We are no more the same species as a worm is a wolf. Your very being in my presence is a slight of the highest order. I think you'll find our blood is much more similar than you think. When I take that ugly head off your shoulders, we can both get a good look at how equally filthy your blood is to mine. I'm not the boy I was 3 years ago. I'll drag you down from your throne on high and show you for the dregs of the earth you really are. You would dare insult me, cur! Sunfire Royal again. Nice. The actual civilian story. Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know if I'll ever play through Royal a second time, considering I played through base Persona all the way and then Royal all the way. I think that's enough Persona 5 for me, but both playthroughs were fantastic. Loved them all the way through. I mean, I put 200 plus hours into the totality of Persona 5, though I will probably sit down and play Strikers one day. I have it. I just haven't sat down and, like, played it. So, yeah, he definitely has that, like, vibe to him. Between, like, the red smear on his side and the, you know, exaggerated teeth. We traded strikes going on offense and defense in roughly equal parts. Barnier was quick on his feet and quicker with his blade. When I attacked, he swayed effortlessly out of its path, like a stalk of wheat in the wind. And when he attacked, he was like a typhoon. He had a prowess that could never be overcome with brute strength. However, I had not spent the last 3 years idle. While I could hardly imitate the refined swordsmanship of a trained nobleman, I had a much better grasp on how and when to most effectively put my weight into a swing, how to maintain the ideal amount of distance between us. And there was one other key difference. I had no intention of running. Either I would take off his head, or I would end up in a bloody heap on the floor. There was no other way this battle could end. I'm not really interested in Tactica, and that's okay. Like, it exists. I'm sure it's good. I have no doubt that it's good, but I don't really have an interest in it. It's not Canada Striker. Oh, that's fair. That's the same way that, like, the events of Persona 4 Dancing are not canon in Persona 4 Golden, which is very weird to me. But I enjoy both of them as it is. Persona 4 Golden was great, and Dancing is by far the best of the rhythm games. The other two were shells of copies of 4. Think about what you're doing, Slumrat. About who you're pointing that blade at. An attack on me is an attack on God. It is an act of unspeakable sacrilege. Huh, a little late to take the moral high ground. You that afraid of dying? Then put your tail between your legs and start running. You insolent! I am the rightful heir to the Barnier family. The blood of the kings of old flows in my veins, and I am the ultimate ruler of this land and my people. I would never condescend to turn my back to a worthless rat. Well, don't say I didn't give you the choice. That just means we'll keep on doing this till one of us is dead. Every swing, every step, every slight shift of balance had a little more weight than the last. But unlike last time, where the pressure had only served to light a fire under me, it was now building up inside of me, growing, taking form. I could now perfectly trace the path of his blade dancing through the air. Back then, the only advantage I had over Barnier was physical strength and pluck, but things were very different now. He was agile, but I could keep up with him, though I was beginning to overtake him. Allow me to borrow your words if I would. Perhaps you should save the snide yapping for when you have the skill to back it up. Don't get cocky, you insignificant rat. You treacherous cur! I mean, I thought it was too, but things are different between them. It's been a long time since I played them, but I remember specifically there were things that were different between them. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just been too long. Clearly, yes, the power of youth wins all. The Lord swung down at me with all his strength, but I managed to parry the strike with little trouble. In that moment, I had undeniable power. Power. That's right. I wasn't powerless. And I could never let myself be powerless again, ever. And if I couldn't manage that, then I deserved to rot here as the weak, worthless man I was. I had the chance, here and now, to take out not only the Lord, but the me of old as well, the helpless, impotent boy who couldn't even protect the ones he loved. It's exactly what I'll do. I'll show you that I'm not who I used to be. That I'm not that sniveling little boy from 3 years ago. Before long, Barnier was coming up against the far wall. You impudent worm! We were both breathing hard, dripping with sweat. The air seemed to waver like there was a fire burning between us. A fire fueled by our own souls, and that heat extended to the entire hall, in staunch defiance of the cold winter sitting beyond the walls. Perhaps the room had transformed into one of the halls of hell itself. Where's your god now, huh? It's time to end this. Your time in this earth has come to an end, Barnier. I readjusted my grip on my sword, repositioned my feet on the hard floor, lining everything up for my final strike, and then, through a little extra fuel on the fire, before breaking into a dash. However... Wait! Oh. Well... Guess she didn't make it that far.
Ah! What the fuck?
Maybe I'm forgetting things then. I really loved Dancing and Golden, to be fair. And she was in there, though I think as a DLC character, but that doesn't change anything. What? The last person I expected to see stood between me and the Lord, bringing me to an emergency stop just moments before I would have taken off his head. Jiren? But because I had been running at full speed, I think that was... Damn it, now I gotta look it up again. Go back to translate and forget. I think you're right, it was a J sound, though.
Ceren.
Okay.
Sirène.
Well, it says auto-translate from Turkish.
Ceren.
Ceren.
We'll go with the J. We got multiple ways of pronouncing it. We're just going to keep it rolling. Because I'd been running at full speed, I staggered, almost tripping before catching my balance. She reached out, placing her hands on my shoulder, pleading at me with eyes the color of early spring leaves. I could see myself, aghast, reflected in those eyes. Oh, yeah, that's fair. I shouldn't have stopped. I shouldn't have hesitated, for any reason. I should have knocked Jiren out of to the side and taken off Barnier's head. But a torrent of questions rained down on me, entangling me from head to toe like a spider's web. Why? How? What was Jiren doing here? Why did she ask me to stop? Why was she standing between me and Barnier? No. The answer hit me like a bolt of lightning. Only 4 people had survived the raid on the brothel. We had prepared a safe room underground in case of emergency, and the stairs down were hidden beneath the floorboards. Yet Maria had said that they were found quickly and most of the girls taken captive. You didn't. The attack had been well organized and large scale. Could the aroma of the herbs, which was strong enough to be smelled outside, have been some kind of signal? How could you? How could you betray us? What came out of my mouth was not words, though, but a pained, visceral wail. But overpowering everything else I felt was paralyzing shock. Yeah, did you really think the Lord was going to give a frack about her? Like, come on. The blade sticking out of Jiren's chest pierced my breast. Oh. Damn. Pulled a straight up, I'd say he pulled a Yojimbo, but through someone else, I guess. Our blood flowed down opposite ends of the silver edge, melding into a single stream. I had completely lost any sense of what was happening, left only with crushing bewilderment. Barnier let out a deep, bellowing laugh from behind Jiren. The sound resonated through the blade in his hilt. I could literally feel him mocking me from inside my body. That's... Not many people have experienced that, I imagine. What? Why? How could you do that, Jiren? No. How could you, Barney? Well, we get how he could do it. He doesn't give a crap about anyone but himself. That is a known quantity. Jiren had double-crossed us. As much as I didn't want to believe it, I no longer had much of a choice. She had claimed she thought of us like family, when in reality she was colluding with the Lord. She was the one who had brought ruin upon the brothel. I couldn't reconcile what I saw with what I thought I knew. I couldn't forgive that kind of betrayal, and I couldn't even begin to comprehend Barnier's actions. How can you hide behind her when she stood up for you? How can you so readily cast her aside? She saved your life. How could you do this to her? Does he look like he cares a little? What are you laughing at? Look at the girl. Look at her face. Teehee. What? Why does Jiren... How could she possibly smile about any of this? What was going through her mind? Had she gone mad? Never seen her like... Wait. Yes. I had. I knew that smile. All too well. When the realization struck, an almost painful chill crawled up my spine. Jiren was always smiling. She could break the ice with anyone in no time. She brought laughter wherever she went. She was endlessly cheerful and sincere to a fault. Flashes of our time together rushed through my mind. She was... Presumably you're thinking the girl's gone mad, but that isn't quite right. No. She's been mad all along. What? Did anyone in their right mind keep smiling after seeing their parents murdered and being sold off? A slight flesh wound, Sora. Yeah, slight. Could anyone in their right mind genuinely believe they don't have a sorrow in the world? Could anyone in their right mind be smiling with a sword sticking out of their chest? I can't. The girl's immalleable mirth is but a different shade of madness. If she weren't mad, she wouldn't be smiling. Jiren lacks the capacity to comprehend negative emotions. That can't be. She's compassionate, empathic. There's no way she doesn't understand those emotions. It's called good old-fashioned hard work. She pretends to show compassion. despite the fact that others' pain is incomprehensible to her. No, I refuse. You can't tell me there haven't been moments where you've seen the seams in her act. In one of our conversations, I had asked Jiren, had you never felt like you got the short end of the stick? To which she had responded, I don't even know what the stick looks like, never mind which end is the short one. Well, I'd assumed she'd either moved on or her threshold for happiness was on the low side. The scale she waited on was outright broken. To tell you the truth, I'm rather fond of the girl. After all, I am a madman myself. I wanted to shut out his words, to act like it was all crazy blather, but like I didn't see any truth in it. But all the proof I needed was staring right at me. Jiren was smiling as bright and as genuine as ever. The same smile she always showed us, as blood streamed down the blade in my chest. And I still couldn't believe it. Still, I couldn't accept that she had chosen this man over us. You said that you thought of us like family, Jiren. What happened to that? I don't know if she's in any state to answer a question at this rate, but it's fine. What happened to all of our time together? You would throw it all away for him? Jackie, remember what I said? Excuse me? That I had my eye on someone. And I love you, Jackie, and everyone else at the brothel. There's someone I love even more. Not the cleverest girl. I can only see what's right in front of me. Clearly couldn't see what was behind. How impossibly idiotic could I be? She never had an eye for me. Her heart had always belonged to Barnier. I was being presumptuous when I assumed she was talking about me at the festival. Why him, though? Why this man of all people? I about fell to my knees, but I managed to hold my balance long enough to stagger back. When the tip of Barnier's blade slipped from my chest, the blood it had been holding in seemed to rush out all at once, and with it went everything I was feeling. Some revolution this turned out to be, rat. As a parting gift, I'll let you in on a little something. The girl was my pawn from the very beginning, an informant sent to keep me appraised of anything that might spark opposition. If someone's amassing wealth illegitimately, I have them killed, or forced to surrender all their assets to me. If someone says something disagreeable about me, I have them hanged. That scheming wench, Ginevra, was it? It's probably at the bottom of a river by now. But, it seems I failed to keep everything under control, seeing as you're still breathing and dragging a pack of mindless peasants around with you. It's only a minor inconvenience, though. All I have to do is take off your head, and then, without their leader, they'll regress back to the ignorant swine they are. It's time we put this ludicrous revolution to rest. Barnier shifted backward slightly, making to pull the sword from Jiren's chest. She moaned, the sound a mixture of agony and ecstasy. I thought I could hear the flesh ripping as the blade passed through it. I should have been readying myself to fight again, to brandish my sword and take this bastard's head, but I couldn't move an inch. Everything seemed to grow distant. My spirit was on the verge of collapse. The fire that had blazed within me had been snuffed out in an instant. Countless memories crumbled before my eyes. The word death flashed through my mind, but it brought with it no fear, only vast hopelessness. As the last of my will threatened to slip from my grasp, I heard a voice. Remember what I said? What? I want to be together with you, forever. Oh. Is she really crazy? Okay. What do you think you're doing? Let go of the sword, Jiren. Lucidity came rushing back to me, and a split second later I understood what she meant, what she wanted. I didn't give myself a chance to consider where that road might lead, if I wanted to walk down it, if I would come to regret the decision, or if it was the right thing to do. There was no time to think, only act. I couldn't let this opportunity go, so I shut everything out. My mind, my looming consciousness, my sense of right and wrong, my heart. I shoved aside every possible distraction, rekindled the near-extinguished fire of my rage, let out a visceral howl, and swung. I could feel the impact in my arms as the blade tore through flesh and bone. Jiren's lifeless body dropped to the floor with a thud. Yeah, she's not gonna survive this regardless, but the tip of my blade ripped a gash in Barnier's throat. A geyser of blood erupted from his neck. He bent over, writhing in agony, and staggered back a few steps before his legs gave out and he dropped to his knees. His eyes were opened wider than I thought possible, and he brought both hands up to his throat to stem the flow of blood. But it did little to help, the crimson stream seeping through the gaps in his fingers. With each beat of his heart, the flow surged, sending up sprays of lifeblood. Impossible. Well, I was right. Noble blood and peasant blood all looked the same. Grunting and groaning, Barnier pawed at the floor, evidently still convinced he could scamper off and escape somehow. Excuse me. He left behind a trail of blood as he crawled. It was, by all rights, over. However, there was still one last thing to take care of. I marched over to the Lord and placed my foot on his back, slamming him down into the ground. I'm not leaving without your head. I owe it to Jiren to reunite you. Wait! If you kill me, the neighboring counts are sure to intervene before you even realize what's happening. Put down your sword, and I'll spare you! Yeah, sure, okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure didn't expect that to be a flash that they had for a few frames. Mm-hmm. You'll spare me? You're in no position to be sparing anyone. You're either a fool or a hopeless optimist. You're not a lord anymore. You have no power. You're just a sick worm. And the counts, they won't be an issue. I'll be taking over for you after all. Oh, is that so? And how are you planning to do that? You're a peasant. Ginevra entrusted me with a ring that bears the Barnier family crest. I'll use that to make myself out to be the successor to the royal family. And what will you do once you've faked your nobility? You have no experience, not the faintest idea how to be a lord. I'm sure I'll govern better than you ever did. You're out of your mind. A peasant like you couldn't govern an empty plot of land. Not that being a noble makes one any more qualified, as you've more than clearly demonstrated. I'll take your seat, then I'll take the world. Ludicrous. Think very hard about this, boy. Killing me will be a mistake you can never fix. Put down that sword. Does death frighten you so much you would deign to beg for your life, Lord? Like I said before, we began, though. The only way this ends is with one of us dead. Pressed my sword against Barnier's nape, then leaned into it hard. The blade sank into his flesh, the gash spreading like a crack on glass. Screams of agony echoed through the hall. All the blood in his body seemed to be trying to escape through the gaping hole, creating an ever-growing pool of red around us. Before long, you too will be driven to madness. Excuse me? By the time you've figured out what it means to be a lord, you won't be the kind-hearted friend of the people anymore. Living this life, having no one you can trust, it'll eat away at you, and then you'll... Enough. You'll be your own executioner. Enough! Guy laughs to his final moments. I'll be waiting for you. Down in hell. Welp. Also, hey Topaz, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. Enjoy the lurk. Here. Every guard and every rebel. I have here the Lord's head, taken by my own hands. You have no reason to fight any longer. Put down your arms, all of you, and cease this meaningless battle. Our revolution has come to pass. In less than a day's time, the Lord's manor had fallen. By the time it was all over, it felt almost underwhelming how completely and utterly we had conquered them. Men cheered and shouted in celebration. Others borrowed suits of armor and pretended to be knights. A fire of a different color filled the manor's wall. They believed that, with the Lord's death, everything would suddenly be better for everyone, that nobody would have to suffer anymore. They would all be happy and live perfectly fulfilling lives. They had no logical reason to believe as such, yet no one seemed to doubt it in the slightest. Everyone seemed to have forgotten that enacting change required work, and there was still much of that to be done. The entire rest of the day, the men partied and celebrated, paying no heed to the corpses strewn around the property. Even the injured joined in. Nothing could stand in the way of their merrymaking. This is very merrymaking music. They raised goblets to my great accomplishments, and I smiled along, though their fiery passion could not penetrate the cold bubble that had formed around me. The only real fervor I had felt all day was while I crossed swords with Barnier. Now my head was surprisingly clear. Perhaps clear wasn't quite right. It was stagnant. It felt as though I were suspended in a dark sludge. Barnier's dying words hovered around me. By the time I figured out what it meant to be a lord, I wouldn't be the kind-hearted friend of the people anymore, he had said. That I would have no one to trust. That it would eat away at me, drive me mad. Then I would be my own executioner. Again and again I tried to tell myself that I wasn't like him, that I wouldn't end up like him. But his voice, his curse, refused to leave me. Images of his decapitated head flashed through my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that one day it would eventually be my head. Yeah, super good music, yeah. Well, there you are. Did he not get a spot of blood on him? Been wondering where he ran off to. Oh, Gratien. How goes it? That sure ain't the face of a man who just pulled off a goddamn revolution. Your wound hurting? Got something that can make the pain go away if you want some. Ah, there we go. Here she is. Take one of these leaves and grind it up in the back of your mouth. You should start tingling right at the back of your head in no time. Then all the pain's gone, like it was never there. Some pretty great shit. If you don't mind getting a little loopy for a bit anyway. But after all that, it ain't like you're going to need to think straight for a while. So what do you say? Take a few? I think I'll pass. It does hurt, but I can handle it. And why the long face? You're a hero now. People are going to be looking up to you. Gratien can't comprehend the concept of being upset about anything other than being in massive amounts of physical pain. Nothing else. Anything else is like, what are you doing? Thinking? Ah, you should stop that. You should probably take some drugs and drink more. It's himbo to the core, yes. Aggressively himbo. He's not just himbo. He wants to spread himboness. He can't imagine anyone else not being a himbo. And that ain't a great look. The big rock. I don't remember seeing this here before. Please don't touch it. It's Sheeran's gravestone. Ah, so that's what's got you down in the dumps, huh? I mean, I get it. Sure as hell didn't see that one coming either. Talk about a shocker. Sweet little thing like her in bed with the Lord. Women can be fucking scary creatures at times. I don't even want to think about what kind of shit she was scheming while she got all chummy with us. There's no mask, no facade, no scheming. She was always just being herself. You out of your mind, kid? She played us for months, not the tiniest hint. If that ain't a facade, I don't know what is. She never believed herself to be lying to us. Assuming Jiren genuinely didn't grasp the concept of sadness or fear, that she was incapable of experiencing negative emotions, then it does kind of add up. She loved the Lord while also enjoying her time with us. To her, they weren't mutually exclusive. To her, feeling both was not wrong. Well, looks like you're a lot better at arithmetic than me. That is not surprising in the least, because that don't come close to adding up in my head. Maybe you just don't want to accept that it was all a big fat lie. Perhaps. I'm not Jiren, and I don't know what she had with the Lord, so all I can do is speculate. And perhaps I do merely want to believe that she was part of the family. There we go. Gratien, can I ask you to keep this from Maria and the other girls? You sure? Regardless of what Jiren's actual feelings were, I don't see any reason to sully their memory of her. Fair enough, I guess. Not like the dead can make their own case. So the least we can do for the ones they left behind is not taint their memory. Unless someone knows how to bring them back, that is. Indeed. You sure everything's good, kid? What are you so concerned about? I mean, it's yours now. When we leave, you'll be staying here. I just want to make sure you're really up for it. If you want, I could take your place. Pardon? If you think being in charge will be too much to handle, I'll gladly take it off your shoulders. Look. No. We know Jacopo fucks us up. We know with the power of knowing what happens. But no. Do not think that would be a better option. Because, like, look. Jacopo overthinks things and tries to get power a little too slowly and a little too much. But Gratien would dive straight into the, like, overzealous drinking blood orgies. Like, it would be a month before he was like, yup, just punching people, drinking, personal pleasures, screw everyone else. Like, come on. He doesn't have the brain to think 2 steps ahead. I don't even know if he has the brain to think 1 step back. Yeah, no. Hell, we both know I'm more of a fighter than you. We'll give you that. I could have taken Barney out without him getting so much as a scratch in on me. What do you say? I'll do it. Don't be stupid. The whole city would be savages by year's end if you were in charge. By month's end. He does have a strong sense of justice. But he doesn't have 2 brain cells to rub together. So, you know... Hey, just offering you a way out, kid. It's my burden to bear, and I have no intention of passing it off. I'll have myself back in order by tomorrow. Well, if you say so. But don't forget, you're in this for the long haul. Don't worry, I can handle it. So, do you have any specific plans moving forward? The woman you were conspiring with, Ginevra, was it? They offed her, didn't they? She was hardly the one noble hoping to see Barnier overthrown. I'll have to start by building up a solid foundation of supporters among the nobility. Do we really need the dick squad on our side, though? Why don't we just cut ourselves off from all that crap and start our own country? A place just for us. No royalty or nobility to rob us blind. Just our city. That would be ideal, but unfortunately, it isn't quite so simple. I mean, he clearly just goes and parties off somewhere. Can't just over the Lord take over the city and build a big wall around the borders. Without a clear, legitimate transfer of power, the neighboring counts will undoubtedly intervene. So we fight back. What's the problem? A little band of peasants was only able to take down the Lord because we had the element of surprise. But what happens when a trained, organized army marches on our borders? You don't need me to answer that for you. This world's kind of a massive bitch, huh? But it's a hell of a lot better than having old Barnier in power, I guess. You'll change things for the better, though, won't you? You have my word. Great. So, Jacopo, I know we'll be parting ways here soon and all, but I want you to know I'll never forget this day. We crashed the gates of hell together and made the devil our bitch. It's a hell of a lie. Don't matter how far apart we are, nothing will change what we've been through. So let's make the city into the best goddamn city around. You from the top, me from the bottom. Yes, let's. It's a great comfort to know I have you down there. I have a good deal of trust in you. I won't disappoint you, kid. And don't you ever hesitate to give me a shout if you need something. When we first met, kind of wanted to throw you off a cliff, and you still rub me the wrong way sometimes. But I also consider you one hell of a partner, and I mean that. We risked our lives for each other, brothers in arms. I thank you. I too consider you a good comrade. You and the rest of the gang. I was beginning to think you'd never come out of it. Come out and say it. Now remember, kid. Don't you let us down with this, or you'll be hearing from us, capiche? I know you can do it. I won't let you down. It'll all go fine. I have allies. Friends I can count on. With their help, I can change things for the better. I can believe in myself. I can do this. I have no reason to think otherwise. This fluttering in my stomach is nothing to be concerned about. When that fated night came to an end, the vast, bright blue sky of morning greeted me. I looked up at that sky, standing in a manner that still reeked of blood. It's gone up for a while. You gotta... I don't know how easy it is to get blood out of stone, but probably not very. And Morgana filled my thoughts. If you were here now, what would she say to me? Congratulations? It was so unlikely I let out a little laugh. She would undoubtedly criticize me for seizing power through such violent means. Her lips would twist into a scowl, and she would damn me to hell for the 1000th time. She would tell me what I had done was extremely foolish, but perhaps she would also express some concern about my injuries. It's all in my own imagination, though. She would never be at my side again. We would never look at the same sky again. These are not true statements. I would never hear her sing again. My old life was gone, a relic of the past. It would never be the same again. Not without the girl I loved being a part of it. Jeez. Part 1 end. Holy crap. A Requiem for Innocence interlude. Recollections of an outlaw. You're in the mood for something juicy, you say. Hate to break it to you, chum, but I ain't made of dough. I like a nice slab of meat as much as the next bloke, but I'm barely making do as is. We all are, in case you hadn't noticed. What, you're not hungry? Just want a juicy story to go with your drink? Then why didn't you say that to begin with? Give me a sec. Think I got one you'll like. A few months back, me and a bunch of other blokes went out on a raid. It's a puny little village. They didn't do much trade, just living off what they could grow, so no one figured we'd make out with much. Grab a little grub, plow some of the girls, that was the best anyone was hoping for. Business as usual. We killed the guys, had some fun with the girls, then killed them too. Nothing too interesting, nothing really exciting up to that point. But that changed when I busted into this one house. It's a man, a woman, and a little girl, maybe 5 years old. Siblings, just the girl. No siblings, just the girl. Real small family for a village like that. Dad comes at me to protect a girl, then Ma tries to block my way. No surprise here. Killed them both. Couple of unmarried farmers. Easiest snapping a baby, unarmed farmers. Easiest snapping a baby's neck. That left the kid. Wasn't like she could do nothing, so I didn't have to kill her, but you know how the stupid things get, crying like it's the end of the bloody world. So I figured, I'll run her through before she starts howling on me, right? But get this. The kid smiled at me and said, "Where are you from, mister?" Couldn't believe me ears. "Girl, your parents were just killed. By me. And I'm coming to kill you next. How the hell are you smiling? And how the hell are those the first words out of your tiny little mouth?" Creeped me out, truth be told. So much so I lost all interest in killing her. So I dug around for anything worth taking and then went on my way. But this damn kid tried to leave, and guess what? She fucking follows me. Doesn't want revenge or nothing, just smiling like a fool. I'm a patient bloke, but this was way beyond the pale. I yelled at the stupid thing, "Why the hell are you following me? Piss off!" She gives me this confused look and says, "I'm bored. Everyone else stopped moving, so I have nothing else to do. But you're still moving, mister." My damn head was spinning. She was maybe 5, yeah? Could understand her being a little stupid, but she should have known right from wrong enough to know to be scared of me. You'd have to be out of your mind to come trotting after the bastard who just offed your parents. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what her problem was. She wasn't right in the head. Tried to get her to piss off, but she wasn't hearing it. The other guys started talking. Maybe we should just nick her, right? Then one guy says with a big smile, "Let's say we take bets on what it'd take to make the kitty cry." So we did just that. Started placing bets. Give her a good yell and she'll cry. Knock her around some, that'll do it. I say yank out a tooth or two. Rip off her nails one by one. And finally, plow her till she breaks. Went round and did everything we could think of. Our absolute worst. Not like we ever pretended to be good people. But it ain't every day you see a bunch of grown men taking turns knocking the hell out of a 5-year-old girl. And hell, that by itself is a good drinking story if I ever heard one. Disagree. But it keeps going. She never cried. No matter what we did. Not once. She would groan and twist her face when we hit her, so she did feel pain. But even that was only for a second. After that, she'd be back to smiling like an idiot. Tell you the truth, she seriously creeped me the fuck out. Wanted to just end it there and forget all about her. The rest of the guys, they took a liking to her, wanted to bring her back with us. Tried to talk him out of it, but one guy, he says, what's the big deal? Ain't like we're adopting her. We'll have some fun, and when we get bored, she's gone. And it's pretty damn hard to argue against that. I kept fighting it, and it looked like I was trying to be a good guy or something. So now we got this kid in the crew. First month or so she's with us, everyone's treating her like their plaything. But after a little bit, it starts to change. They start being kind of nice to her. Giving her extra food, letting her join in on conversations, that sort of thing. She still creeped me out, sure, the way she never stopped smiling, but she wasn't ugly or nothing. Could be kind of cute, even. Once she started talking with us more, I realized something. None of us knew this damn kid's name. So I asked her, and get this. She says, I'm me. Dead fucking serious. Now, like I've been saying, girls always never made much sense. But this was on another level. So I press her, no, what's her name? She just tilts her head and says the same thing. I'm me. So you're saying your name is me? I ask, and she gives me this big fat grin and nods her head. Who the hell names their kid me? Her parents seem like reasonable enough folks. They at least cared enough to try and protect her from me. They just run out of ideas trying to come up with a name for her or what? As I'm thinking to myself, I see there's something sewn into the bottom of her shirt. Looked like writing, but I can't read for shite. So I call over the only educated guy in the crew and have him look at it. Turns out it was a name. Jiren. Your name ain't me, it's Jiren, I say. She lights up like a fucking village we just got through with. Really? My name's Jiren? I never knew. I let out the biggest sigh of my life and say to her, you're the dumbest broad I ever known. About a month after we picked the girl up, we had a bit of trouble. There's this chubby bloke by the name of Marcos, and he starts getting this thing for her, yeah? I ain't one to get on a guy about what he gets his rockets off, but a 5-year-old girl? That just ain't right. We may be terrible rapists and pillagers, but, you know, we're like, dude, come on. Marcos was kind of slow in the head, always at the back of the pack, and mostly useless when we went on jobs. The only reason we kept him around was because he made a good pack meal. He was annoying as hell besides. Always saluting and saying, aye aye, like he thought we were a bunch of pirates or something. He called everyone boss, because apparently that was the only form of respect he knew. Day after day, aye aye boss, and I'm on it boss. Let me massage your back boss. It's enough to drive a man mad. Because he was the first one to talk to her, Jiren started imitating him. So now we got 2 buffoons running around talking like that. Noxious as it was, though, end of the day, that's all it was. That changed when Marco started getting real fond of the girl. Every little thing we did, he'd go around telling us to be nicer to her, yeah? As far as we saw it, compared to when we first took her in, we were treating her pretty damn well. Yeah, compared to literally abusing her in every way you knew possible, trying to make her break and cry. I imagine giving her a little bit of food and not hitting her seems like a real great treatment. Of course, that's all relative. Proper slave probably has still got less help from their masters than we gave the girl. But remember, we only brought her along so we could have fun. We never intended to make her part of the crew, but Marcos wasn't having any of it. Son of a bitch actually snapped at us. You'll pay if you don't stop right now, boss. Idiot wanted a fight, so we gave him a fight. Whole lot of us beat the ever-loving hell out of him, stomped his face in so bad you couldn't even recognize the poor bastard anymore. But that wasn't enough for him. His face a big bloody mess, Marcos said, "Won't let you lay another finger on Jiren, boss." Tell you the truth, I didn't think he had the sack. Then Jiren comes trotting in. Seems she heard the ruckus and wanted to see what was up. Marcos's eyes went wide and he yelled, "Stay back!" The girl, she just stood there, same old stupid smile on her face. Seeing her come in, one of the other guys smirks, plops his ass down on Marcos's back and holds a knife up against his neck and says, "Hey, Jiren, you like Marcos?" With a big grin she answers, "Aye, boss." Through the swollen, bruised-up mess of his face you could just barely make out Marcos smiling. Next, the guy on his back says, "Then, would it make you sad if we roughed him up a bit more?" "What do you mean, roughed him up?" "Cut off his fingers, scoop out his eyes, have a little fun." "Fun is fun. Why would that make me sad?" "You hear that? I ain't making this up." The girl's still standing there, smiling, and Marcos, he goes pale as a ghost. And he did it. He cut off his fingers. Jiren's still smiling. Gouged out his eyes, still smiling, and finally he slit Marcos's throat. Even as the blood's spraying right into her face, she never once stopped smiling. Just before he kicks off, Marcos looked like he was thrown into the deepest, darkest pits of despair. Seeing the hope drain from God knows how many men's eyes, but that was on a whole nother level. as you can imagine, I wasn't the only one Jiren creeped out anymore. Everyone felt the same way. She was so messed up, we all thought we might start turning into her if we kept her around any longer. So the next city we landed in, we sold Jiren off. And we all lived happily ever after, minus one twisted little girl. What do you think? Juicy enough for you? You feel sick? Sorry about that, chum. Thought you had a stronger stomach. Do wonder what Jiren's up to these days. Dead. Still smiling like an idiot? Yes, but dead. Or... Recollections of a Vassal's Wife. Is this the next... Just going to go back to the title and see if it is the next one, because I might just go straight through them. No. That was chapter 1 of a Requiem for Innocence. We could be here for months. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. 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 Oh no, more great game for the shockingly low price I paid for it. I think I paid like $16 for this. I mean, I bought it twice. I did buy it once on PC and once on PlayStation. But even then, we've already passed getting my money's worth at this rate. Long past. Good day to you too, sir. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Yes, that's correct. This is where our slaves were when they were stolen, as I described when I reported it. What? The number of stolen slaves I gave you doesn't match the number you heard from the other sources? Ah. No, I had no intention of deceiving you. I simply assumed it wouldn't be a problem because I wasn't claiming we lost more than we did. Yes, I understand. I beg your pardon. I should have reported the numbers correctly. I will do so in the future, so please, if you would look the other way just this once. Why did I report fewer slaves were stolen? I imagine you would find that curious, yes. Why would anyone want less of their lost manpower returned to them, indeed? It's quite simple. I did not think it would be any great loss if she were not to come back. Oh no, she was a fine worker, and she didn't cause any trouble either. You want to know about the girl? I doubt it will be of any help to your investigation, but I don't mind telling you. I warn you, it's not a terribly pleasant story. None of them are in this game, are they? Though. Very well, as you wish, sir. We purchased her when she was about 5 years old, so she's been with us for quite some time. 8, maybe 9 years now. When we bought her, she was still too young to put to work. She was in good health, though, and always had the sweetest smile on her face, so I had little doubts she would do as she was told. Slaves tend to be so gloomy and depressing, you know? I can't imagine why that would be. Truly, excuse me, from the bottom of my heart, can't understand why somebody who was literally purchased by another human and has no rights to anything whatsoever could be gloomy and depressed. Can't imagine. Not that I don't understand, but unlike many, we try not to mistreat our slaves. But you you're missing a. It's not necessarily the positive or negative treatment. It's the literal owning of a human being. Also, try not to. He didn't say we don't. He didn't say we don't. He said we try not to. It's just worlds different. As long as they do their work, they have nothing to worry about. The best slaves, I think, are the ones who aren't so dreary as to be infectious and make us feel guilty. It would be a real shame if you felt guilty about owning another human being. The girl's name was Jiren, and while she talked rather funny, she was as bright and cheerful as I had hoped. And she was always smiling from ear to ear. For a while, it felt like we had a brand new member of our family. I was so taken with her, I almost considered adopting her instead of keeping her as a slave. And how did I go from wanting to take her in to not caring if she didn't come back? It's rather difficult to explain, to tell you the truth. Yes, that's right. She never caused any trouble. She never stole anything, and she never refused to work. She never cried. She never got upset. No matter what happened, she always did her work with a smile on her face. Sounds just like the ideal slave. Yes, you would think so. And I have no complaints regarding her work. Neither did my husband, nor our servants. I imagine I'm the only one who would be happy to never see her again. I started thinking the girl peculiar about 2 years after we purchased her. Right around that time, one of our other slaves attempted to run away. Yes, that's right. As I said, we have never once mistreated our slaves, and that's not what you said. That's not what you said. I don't believe that statement. Other slave owners could learn a thing or two from us, I say. We tell all our slaves when we buy them that they will be set free as soon as they've worked enough to pay back what we paid for them. Yeah, and how many of you set free? 0? Yeah. So he had only 10 years and he would have been free. But he chose to spit in the face of our generosity and... My apologies, I've gotten off tracks, haven't I? The slave who ran was captured soon after, but trying to flee is one of the greatest transgressions a slave can commit against his master. As such, it was, as I'm sure you understand, necessary to punish him. But I assure you, we never mistreat... Yes, I'm sorry, I'll continue. So as I said, he had to be punished. My husband took a length of rope and used it as a whip, I think it's called. He had all the slaves watch as he lashed the one that had tried to run. It was for their own sake. The other slaves needed to see what would happen if they attempted to flee. The lashing continued for a full day. Jesus. All the slaves present reacted differently. Some averted their eyes, some cried, some looked on trembling, but it was clear that they were afraid, which meant the punishment had served its purpose. For everyone except Jiren, that is. Yes, that's correct. She simply smiled. At first I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, but every time I looked over at her, I saw the same thing. As the slaves being lashed screamed out in pain, Jiren didn't even flinch. She just stood there smiling. Just looking at her gave me the chills. My husband thought it curious as well, but he wasn't nearly as put off as me. She was 7 at the time and a hard worker, and he said there was no issue as long as she didn't cause any trouble. But that completely misses the point, you know? She gave me the creeps. I wasn't comfortable with her around. But of course my husband has the final say. I couldn't defy him. So I did my best to forget that day. I couldn't get the girl out of my mind, though, no matter how hard I tried. My gaze was drawn to Jiren, and I noticed quite a bit as I observed her more carefully. Say one of the slaves hurts himself while working. You might expect another slave to ask if he's all right, to help patch up the wound, to volunteer to take on his responsibilities for the day, to show concern and compassion. But Jiren, she would just smile and go on her way, not a word. She was hardly perfect either, is anyone though, and she would make mistakes occasionally. Everyone slips up, and we try not to make a huge fuss about it because we sincerely value our slaves and the work they... My apologies. In any case, we can't simply brush such mistakes off, so we make sure to admonish them whenever something happens to ensure things run smoothly. But even as I scold her, Jiren's still smiling. And as I'm sure you can imagine, it's hard not to feel as though you're being disrespected. So once I lost my temper and smacked her. I thought you tried to be good to your slaves and not mistreat them. Literally all she did is smile. And you lost your temper and smacked her? Yeah, real good job. A 7-year-old. It was only the once, though. I swear, I'm not a violent woman. I hate raising my hand to anyone. I was sure that, if nothing else, would make her cry. But she still smiled, with half her face red and swollen. I was so perplexed I came straight out and asked her, "Why do you not cry? It just hit you. How can you keep smiling?" And she said, "Why would I cry? I'm not sad about anything." Pressing the issue further, I discovered she had evidently never felt bad for anyone in her life, including herself. Can you imagine? How terrible is that? It's not right. So I decided I needed to teach her how she was supposed to act. I taught her that when she saw someone get hurt, she needed to show sympathy. That when she was being reprimanded, she needed to show remorse and a desire to improve. Jiren listened carefully to every word I said. And before long, she started putting my teachings into practice. At first, I was relieved. Jiren was finally a regular girl. She showed concern, compassion, regret. But it was all an act. She acted sad when someone got hurt, and then she turned around and was smiling again. Never lasted more than a few moments. Emotions were but a flash, there, then gone before you realized. It wasn't normal. It wasn't human. She didn't genuinely feel sympathy. Beyond the surface, she was no different than the girl who smiled as a fellow slave was being whipped before her eyes. Jiren had learned nothing. Unable to bear it anymore, I went to my husband again. I told him she wasn't normal. There was something wrong with her. I implored him to do something. but my pleas fell on deaf ears. She was a good worker, he said. We couldn't ask for a better slave, he said. Oh, but he couldn't have been any more wrong. He wasn't the one who had to look after her. He had no idea what she was like, how unsettling it was merely being in her presence, how deeply upsetting it was. My apologies, I'm fine now. As you can imagine, I'm not particularly fond of Jiren, so it was a weight off my shoulder when I heard she was one of the stolen slaves. Why are you giving me that look? You think I'm the one who has the problem? You think there's nothing wrong with her, just like my husband? One look at her smiling and you'd know. I'm telling you the truth. She's not simply a little eccentric. There's more to it than that. I can't take it anymore. Is there no one who will understand me? Recollections of a prostitute. Kick back for a bit, why don't you? Sorry, there we go. Get the cap on. I'm in the mood to talk. Nah, I'm not going to charge extra. I don't bill by the hour. Oh, you never thought of me as a talkative girl? Guess that just goes to show how much I've taken to you. No, I'm not trying to butter you up, I swear. Been thinking a lot these days about the place I last worked at. And it's really been getting me down. Can't think of anyone I want with me at these times like this more than you. Did something happen there? Huh, been waiting for that question. It's a bit of a long story, hope you don't mind. There's a city about 10 days by carriage from here. You know the one, right at Lord Barnier's doorstep? Excuse me. The place I used to work was there, and every so often, the Lord would summon a few of the prettiest girls to come to his manor. Hardly the best looking girl around, even out here, so I was never one of the chosen. But honestly, I'm lucky for it. It's not the kind of thing you want to go mention in public, but the Lord has some, unsavory hobbies. Really? You don't say. Didn't pick up on any of that previously, as he led like an 8-year-old girl out and drank it in blood parties. Yeah. Every girl who ever came back said, there's no amount of money you can pay me to do that again. Word is, the Lord had a taste for torturing and killing his slaves. Yeah, he did. Not just if you screw up either. If he's in the mood and he so much as sees you, you could be dead. He's got a dungeon under his manor too, they say, and you can hear wailing coming from down there at all times of the day. The Lord enjoys all different kinds of torture. Flaying, dismemberment, boiling, the water cure. I'm going to regret this, but I have to know what the fuck the water cure is. Apparently a novel. All it's finding is, water cure, torture. Water cure is a form of torture which the victim is forced to drink large quantities of water in a short time, resulting in gastric gotcha. Water intoxication and possibly death. Gotcha. It goes on a little longer on Wikipedia, but that's enough. Yeah, forced to just drink water continuously. Did not know that was a thing, nor that it had a name. I'm sure he uses others, but I've only heard bits and pieces secondhand. He only ever killed the slaves, though. The girls all came back in one piece. On the outside, at least. Being forced to watch people get brutally murdered did a real number on most of them, I would think. Some were so broken by the experience they couldn't work anymore. So the Lord apparently, he hosts banquets at his manor every so often. But here's the kicker. He only invites nobles that are into the same sort of thing. It's not the only one. We're being governed by God knows how many twisted freaks. Good to know nothing's changed. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, something like 2 years ago, I think it was, it's almost like power corrupts or something, you know. Documented as far back as the 1400s, though. Game's done that before. Yeah, that's fair. Well, only documented and existing are different things. Maybe he just didn't, tell people about it. I don't know. But yeah, no, look. You're probably right. But whatever. But you're probably right. Anyway, something like 2 years ago, I think it was, a couple girls came back looking a good 20 years older. They told us about one of these banquets. Most of the time, it's just him and his noble friends torturing slaves, but this one was different. There's a girl, maybe 10 years old, chained up naked on the makeshift altar, but here's where it gets crazy. The girl, who they called a saint, was covered in scars, head to toe. They cut her up and filled their cups with her fresh blood. When she didn't cry, she didn't even flinch. She just sat there quietly. And when she did speak, it was to condemn them as blasphemers and sinners. Can you imagine, chained up like that, she's scolding her captors, telling them God will punish them for their actions? I wouldn't have the guts. Maybe she was raised at a church or something, but I'm guessing that's got something to do with why they called her a saint. Oh yeah, the slave revolt was right around that time too. You hear about that? Just rumors? Well, they're not just rumors. It really happened. Because of the revolt, the girls who'd been there made it out in mostly decent shape, and for a while afterwards, the Lord didn't send for anyone. I'm guessing he was too preoccupied patching up the holes in his manor and finances to spend much time fooling around. So to change topics for a sec, but about that same time, this dark-skinned girl, the kind you don't see too often around these parts, started working here. Name was Jiren. She was pretty, always had the widest smile on her face, and really friendly. Seemed like the kind of girl who'd drawn a lot of business. And I was right. Within a couple of weeks, she had already picked up a few regulars, and our manager was going on about how happy he was with his purchase. About a month in, though, we started getting complaints from one of her customers. He said she was being condescending with him. I brought it up with Jiren, but she said she had no idea what he was talking about. I believe that, yes. So I assumed the customer was just imagining it, or full of it. You get guys like that all the time in this business. No, don't worry. You're not one of them. But the complaints kept coming in, which made me think maybe there was something going on. So I decided to talk things out with the guys making the complaints this time, get a better picture of what the problem was. Most of them were pretty useless and vague, but the common issue seemed to be that her behavior didn't make sense. One guy came in after bungling a huge trade deal, hoping to find some comfort, and he spilled his guts to Jiren. But instead of trying to console him, she laughed. You can see why he wouldn't be thrilled about that. When I asked Jiren about it, she gave me a confused look and said, I thought he was telling a funny joke. There's no malice, nothing. She genuinely didn't understand how the customers wanted her to act. Can't run a business like this without a solid customer base, so making sure everyone leaves happy is crucial to operation. Which is probably not something I should be talking about with the customer, but, well, you're special, so cut me some slack, okay? Anyway, something had to be done about Jiren. We couldn't risk more dissatisfied customers, so I figured the best thing to do was give her some training. Here's how you should react if a client brings up such and such, and here's what you should say if they're looking depressed or upset or whatever. How and when to be reactive, and how and when to be proactive. Jiren was a quick study, so it wasn't long before she was putting my lessons to work. I would have been happy with just reducing the number of complaints to a more normal level, but Jiren improved so dramatically we heard nothing but praise from then on. Say a patron was looking a little blue, she'd give them a big pouty face and say, "What's the matter? You can tell me anything." "Oh no, that's terrible. I feel awful for you. Is there anything I can do to help? Anything at all?" Just this constant stream of comfort, almost to the point of being excessive. She had gone from bright and energetic to sweet and sympathetic as well. On the surface, anyway. Every condolence she offered was a complete fake. She was acting, and I knew, because I was the one who had taught her how. There was nothing wrong with that, though. We're not in the business of genuine human interaction, after all. Thinking back on it now, though, I probably should have taught her what the real thing felt like, rather than just how to fake it. She wouldn't have been able to figure it out anyway. About a year later, the Lord started sending for girls again. We all knew he was a madman, that was common knowledge. But he paid well, and everyone always came back alive. So we reluctantly complied. But we were wrong. He did kill the girls this time. One came back alive, but she was missing an eye and half an arm. She was in no condition to go back to work. Even just going about her daily life would be difficult. We were aghast. But things only got worse from there. The next time the Lord sent for us, we panicked. For one, no amount of money was worth what waited at the Lord's manor. And two, it was impossible to run a business if your employees keep getting killed. So we attempted to turn him away. But his messenger simply said, "The Lord will not take no for an answer." We either complied, or were all executed for treason. The little hope we had left crumbled. We were screwed either way. So we fought amongst ourselves like a pack of wild animals. "Too ugly, you go. I have more regulars, you go. No one likes you anyway." Pure chaos. I was, of course, part of the brawl. And here's where she comes in. Jiren. Everyone's in a big mob, clawing each other's faces off. She just tilts her head and asks, "Why are you so afraid of the Lord?" Seeing that stupid, clueless look on her face, just about everyone in the room busts a vessel. "All right, we'll send her," we said, and it was decided. Jiren smiled, not bothered in the slightest, gave us a cheery, "See you later," and went off to the Lord's Manor. To no one's surprise, she never came back. We figured she'd been killed. A week or so later, the messenger showed up again asking for more girls. At this point, the manager was furious. He demanded to speak with the Lord in person, saying if something wasn't done, the whole brothel would collapse, and he'd put his life on the line to prevent that. Seeing him so resolute, I felt a newfound respect for him. I also thought he was a complete idiot, but I still respected him. After all, there was no way the Lord would be open to negotiation. That much was obvious from everything he'd done. The manager and a few assistants set off for the Lord's Manor, and about 2 weeks later he returned. Or his head did. His assistants managed to avoid death, so they were able to tell us what had happened. No one was exactly thrilled to hear more twisted tales about the Lord, but we listened anyway, and no one could have imagined what they told us. Jiren was there, with the Lord, alive and well. Not only had she not been killed, he'd apparently taken quite a liking to her. The manager was surprised to see her too, but he figured it was a good chance that he would ever get. If Jiren would speak up in his favor, the Lord might actually listen to her. So, emboldened, the manager pleaded with the Lord, begging him not to harm the girls, that we wouldn't be able to send anyone else otherwise. And for attempting to oppose him, the Lord ordered the manager to be executed. The manager, however, entreated Jiren for help. "If you have a heart, Jiren, please tell the Lord not to take my life. I have people who need me." Without hesitation, Jiren nodded, saying, "You think you could maybe let him live?" It seemed a bit, disrespectful for a whore to speak to the Lord like that, but he didn't get upset with her or anything. He really had taken a liking to her, apparently. The Lord nodded and said, "I'll offer you a choice then. Jiren, you may have whichever one of the following you prefer. Either I spare this man's life, or you can have my full attention for the rest of the day." Oh, that's just cheating. The manager and his assistants were all baffled. How is that even a decision? How is a man's life, a man who had employed her for more than a year, no less, comparable to a little attention? But they were even more baffled by Jiren's reaction. She thought about it for a second, and then blushing, she said, "I want your attention." Everyone's jaws dropped. The manager about burst into tears. He begged her to reconsider, to have pity. He asked what he had ever done to wrong her. "You never did me wrong," she said. "Why won't you have him spare me?" "I just want his attention more. You're willing to let me die for that." What's so scary about dying, anyway? Not only did she not comprehend sorrow, she seemed to be devoid of anything resembling fear as well, which explained why she had so much trouble sympathizing with people's suffering, why she was always smiling no matter how bad things got. Without our manager, the brothel went to hell. His son took over, but he didn't give a damn about any of the girls. All he cared about was if he had enough booze to keep himself perpetually smashed. So, figuring I had better chance elsewhere, I left everything behind and ran, leaving my future in fate's hands. Fate was kind to me, and I managed to make it here. They come to me in my dreams sometimes, though. Still see the faces of the poor girls we sent off to the gallows. Wait, where am I again? Awake again, are you, whore? Who are you, sir? It would seem your memories have not fully recovered. Allow me to remind you how you got here, then. No, wait. It's right here on the tip of my brain. Let's see. I was at the brothel. Then I was invited to the Lord's place. I got brought to a big city. Then I was taken to the Lord's castle. The Lord called me into his room. Then you strangled me. Indeed. Your memory has returned without problem. Teehee, I'm super duper good at remembering things. That is just so not true. Wait. Why did you strangle me? To test my theory. Your theory? Of what? You're mad. Mad? About what? Not that kind of mad. First of all, I never bring just one whore to my quarters. Brought you here because you piqued my personal curiosity. You mean you're having orgies in here every day? Wowzers, you've got some serious stamina. Not being alone with one person reduces the chance of an assassination attempt. That makes sense. It's pretty tough being the Lord, huh? So what are you so curious about little old me for? The other day, you and a handful of other whores attended to the torturing of a slave, if you recall. Made you all watch as he died. But you didn't seem affected in the slightest. Crap, I'm so sorry. For what? I wasn't sad enough, was I? That nice farm lady and the girl at the brothel taught me how to be sad and how to be angry. But if I'm not careful, I forget. Sorry for not being sad like I was supposed to. As I said, you piqued my interest. Had you sobbed and screamed like any other horror, we wouldn't be having this conversation. What? So me not being sad wasn't bad? That it wasn't. Huh. No one's ever said that to me before. I always thought you unusual, but I couldn't be certain about what you were without getting more personal. Which is why I brought you here to test that theory. You didn't fear death. You don't fear death, do you, horror? It's not just death. I've never felt sad or scared about anything, ever. Didn't even know sad or scared were things people felt at all until someone told me. But now I know all about them and how you're supposed to act when you feel them. I just don't know what they actually are. Truly fascinating. Tell me more. Huh? What do you want to know? Let's see. Tell me your whole life story. Tell me everything as far back as you can remember. Wow! No one's ever been this interested in me. Teehee, this is super nice. Alrighty then, I'll tell you everything. Don't hesitate to conk out if you get bored. And ta-da, here I am. What'd you think? As boring as I thought it'd be? Hardly. It was easily the most engrossing childhood story I've ever heard. Woo! Smiling as your parents are killed before your eyes. Hardly one to talk, but you're one thoroughly heartless girl. Still wish I could do that over. Really loved my mom and dad, and that nice farm lady taught me you're supposed to be sad when people you love die. Psh, that's why you want to do over? What? You're incapable of experiencing sorrow, no? Feigning it for the occasion won't change the fact you don't actually feel sorry about losing them. Guess you're right. Can't pretend, but I still don't know what it feels like. Don't understand why people are so afraid of death to begin with. I mean, pain isn't fun, I get that much. But if you don't let it bother you, it's not that big a deal. Plus, once you die, you get to go to heaven. So I don't get what there is to be so afraid of. Not everyone goes to heaven. Oh, that's right. But still, I'm sure there are plenty of fun things to do in hell. Fascinating. You truly are twisted to your very soul. Oh, but I do sometimes feel disappointed. Do tell. Like, sometimes I wish I could eat my mom's supper again. And I feel left out when everyone's talking about how weird I am. Maybe sad is just an even stronger version of that. I get the impression your entire experience of negative emotions is fundamentally distorted, so I don't know if you can say that. Jaren? Aye? Would you like to remain with me? What? Normally I send whores back where they came from when I'm done with them. But I'm offering you the chance to stay here with me. Are you asking for my hand in marriage? What do I do? What do I do? I went from whore to the Lord's wife in 3 seconds flat. Fool. I would never even take a mere prostitute as a concubine. Drat. I am, however, fond of you, so I'm offering you a place in my house. So you're saying you actually want me around, even knowing what kind of person I really am? You could say that, yes. Wow, no one's ever actually wanted me before. As promised, Shirin, you have my full attention for the rest of the day. Whee! Tee-hee-hee. Honestly, it shouldn't surprise me anymore how twisted you are. Twisted so far, in fact, that you're the most sincere and honest person in the land, to a fault. You hardly even gave that man's life a second thought. The look on his face as he died was magnificent. You are a cruel girl. I didn't do anything wrong, no matter what you say. I didn't steal anything. I didn't kill anyone. Try to stay out of everyone's way as much as possible. So you actually have some concept of right and wrong, which means you understand that I am a wicked man. I was taught the difference, yes. Fascinating. However, simply knowing the difference is of no use. If you don't feel the repulsion it's supposed to elicit. Knowing full well that I was acting maliciously, still you selfishly chose my affection, sentencing that man to death. It's not what I... No, I guess you're right. I guess I did let him die for my own selfish desires. Looks like I've still got a lot to learn. No, you stay exactly the way you are. As I've said before, you don't need to put up a facade around me. Don't act sad if you're not sad. Don't act angry if you're not angry. Don't feign pity for someone you don't care about. Be you. But everyone says you're Your natural self neither disgusts nor disturbs me. In fact, I greatly prefer you that way. No matter how many slaves I kill and torture for my own entertainment, you never leave my side. You happily accept me, no matter what I do. I'd rather not lose that. Don't stand so far away. Sit down beside me. Hi. I've allowed you to stay here for a month now, and in that time you've been a constant source of entertainment. And you've expressed no desire to leave, either, despite being well aware what kind of man I am. The same goes for you, Barnier. You want me to stay, even though I'm such a weirdo. The difference between you and I, though, is that I kill, and you do not. You know, I've been wondering. What? Why do you like killing so much? It seems your perception of me is slightly inaccurate. It's not the act of killing I enjoy, but the look of dread and despair on a man's face as his life is ripped away. There's a difference? In your mind, perhaps not. Kind of like to know what it's like in your mind, then. I don't think anyone wants to know that. I told you my story. Maybe you could tell me more about you, Barnier. Not that I blame you if you don't want to tell a prostitute like me. You're not a prostitute anymore. Not? Then, what am I? You're my property. Ooh, that sounds super nice. So, to answer your question, I was not always the man I am today. I had several brothers, though I was the eldest. As such, I was first in the line of succession. There should have been no question as to who was the rightful heir to the house. My father, the previous lord, wanted my brothers to succeed him instead. Almost like he could tell you were kind of fucked up. Without any reason to pass over me, though, he would have faced significant opposition and put the family's reputation and legitimately at risk. I was neither infirm nor mentally challenged, but rather extremely talented, which gave my father no leverage to deny me the throne. The one thing I lacked was psychopathy. Seeing people try to butter each other up made me physically sick. It seemed to me the last kind of behavior royalty should be engaging in. I believe that merely possessing leadership ability should be sufficient for ruling effectively. But in this world, only those who can win over others' favor make it anywhere. Only those who can make themselves look good and their peers like fools. Those who can claim others' achievements as their own, who can appear to have more power than they actually do. My father and brothers forsook me, making an attempt on my life. Because they could not legitimately remove me as the rightful heir, they could only kill me if they wanted their way. I was fortunate enough to survive the attempt, but I still carry the scar today. You mean the big one on your back? That's right. You're surprisingly observant. Hee. I was in danger of not just losing the lordship of my life. I was left with 3 choices: to let them kill me, to flee and live in poverty, or to kill them first. I was born to rule, though, so in reality, I only ever had one choice. I murdered my father and all my brothers, leaving me as the only one in the line of succession. But becoming the lord did not immediately win me everyone's favor. Distant relatives crawled out of the woodwork to claim my throne as rightfully theirs. The people demanded I satisfy their every whim and fancy, and even my attendants tried to push their own agendas. The whole affair quickly grew tiring. Dozens were clamoring for say in matters I could easily handle myself, so I silenced them. Before long, the prodding voices had become corpses. And it was somewhere around that time that I found myself intrigued by fear. Fear is a wonderful thing, an incredibly effective silencer that spreads like a plague. Sufficient application would preemptively stop everyone from interfering. Fear strips a man of all his will. When it became apparent to me that one did not have to be a great leader to rule effectively, all the time I'd spent in my younger days working to improve myself felt like an incredible waste. Fear became the centerpiece of my rule, and as I continued to employ it, I began to derive great pleasure from the despair it instilled in others. Men trembled at the sight of me. They bowed their heads and abandoned their dignity. They begged me to spare their lives, and what an exquisite sight it was every single time. Enrapturing. You were born into your madness, Jiren, but I was molded into mine. Huh, that's neat. But Lord Barnier, wouldn't that make me a bad match for you? I'm not scared of you at all. Man is a curious beast, you say. Once everyone feared me, I then came to seek those who did not. You sure are hard to please. You make it sound like I'm merely a picky child. You know, you said it. Though I suppose it's little difference in your eyes. There were a number of others among the nobles who had, like me, strayed from the path. Hardly a surprise, given what life as a noble is like. So I started throwing banquets, inviting those who would be interested. These parties were to serve two purposes. The first, obviously, being for my own amusement. The second, to find those with similar tastes and bring them into my circle. I found little success with the latter, however, despite my rather zealous attempts at recruitment, so I no longer waste the effort. You weren't able to make any friends, then? No, I was not. The other nobles had no interest in getting their own hands dirty. They only wanted to watch, getting their titillation from a safe distance. Not a single one shared the same madness as me. Jiren, you are far better than any of them. What? Thanks? What are you squirming about? Thought nothing bothered you. I am capable of getting flustered, thank you. Teehee. There's something deeply wrong with you. You're the one who decided to throw that curveball, Lord Barnier. Enough with the formalities already. You're not a whore anymore. You're allowed to use my name. Huh. It is your name, though. You don't know your own lord's full name, do you, Jiren? What? Answer the question, girl. I'm sorry. Allow me to help. I'll only say this once, so don't forget it. My name is Jean-Francois Barnier, firstborn son and rightful heir to the Barnier family. Got it memorized. It's a really long name, though. Think I'll call you Franny. That rolls off the tongue nicer. I assume I can take that cryptic chuckle isn't okay? Only if you wish to be hanged. Call me Francois. Jiren? Get up, Jiren. Oh, I swear, you spend every moment you're not otherwise occupied sleeping. I mean, same. I love sleeping. I mean, same. I said, get up, you feeble-minded Nimrod. Ow. That also dates it. Nimrod as an insult is explicitly attributed to Bugs Bunny. Nimrod was like a legendary hunter, but Bugs used it mockingly at Elmer Fudd, and ever since it has been seen as an insult. That's even then, I only knew that more recently. I've only ever known it as an insult. So, yeah, that also dates things, but whatever. You didn't have to hit me. Yeesh. There are nicer ways to wake a girl up, Be grateful I only hit you hard enough to wake you. I swear, the church may have to redefine sloth if they ever meet you. Alright, look, I don't like Barnier. Obviously, he is an awful person. That's an okay line. That one's not bad. that one's pretty good. This bed's so comfy, though. Do you realize the blood of dozens of women is seeped into every fiber? Comfy's still comfy, though. That wouldn't bother you, would it? So what's up, Francois? You need something? Need me for something? Yes, I have a favor to ask of you. What? A favor? Of me? What is it? I'll do anything. Well, you've been hearing what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. You say the word and I'll do it, Francois. And what if I asked you to take your own life right here? Just give me the knife. I'd honestly be more used to this by now. Like, even he's like, damn, the girl's crazy. And it's been a while, too. Why wouldn't I do anything for you, Francois? I love you. No one's ever cared for me like you before. No one's ever wanted me as much as you. You're happy with me as I am, despite me missing all the most important pieces. Again, I really shouldn't be so surprised. Fear not, though. I won't be asking you to die today. How much harder is it going to be, then? Hope you don't want me to kill anyone. It wouldn't be my first time, and I'm not sure I could pull it off properly. Or it would be my first time. You're at the bottom of our list of prospective assassins. I doubt you could successfully smother a baby. Although, you could probably cause a great deal of death, I imagine. I would like to make you into a mole. So you want me to dig holes? In a sense. There's been word of unrest building in the city of late. Money and resources gathered below the table. Murmurings of resistance being organized. So a bunch of baddies. Precisely. I want you to go down to the city and try to find as many baddies as you can, then report back to me. Can you do that? Aye, I can try. Excellent. A whorehouse would be the best place for you to start gathering information, I think. All I need you to do is deliver reports. Anything more involved would probably cause that empty head of yours to burst. Aye, aye. Ah, I just realized if I go into the city, I won't be able to see you as often, Francois. Does that displease you? A whole lot. Oh, I bet this is what being sad feels like. In your twisted mind, perhaps so. How about this? I will have a servant act as a regular client of yours. He will pretend to be a well-off merchant. At regular intervals, he will patronize the brothel, requesting your services and bringing you back to his residence. He'll pay well enough that they won't mind if you're gone for a few days, during which time you can come back to the manor and see me. How does that sound? Whee! I love it! Next, we need to discuss how you present yourself. Although you're free to be yourself in my presence, you will need to put on a suitable act down in the city. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm getting butterflies. It's been years doing precisely that before you came here. I just didn't have you counting on me to do a good job of it back then, Francois. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice then. What? I'm all ears. Freely tell others about the misfortune of your upbringing. I don't think I had a bad childhood, though. You may not, but others will. Your parents murdered as you watched, taken captive by the men who did it. Tell people your story, but don't act overly dejected. Huh? Why not? Won't people think there's something wrong if I'm not sad? People think it's more unusual if you get too dramatic, because it's so far out of line with your regular disposition. Good acting is subtle, not overdone. Oh, people will feel great pity for you when they hear of your past. Then they will see your exuberance as a sign you fought and found the strength of will to move past your ill fortune. They will be impressed, taken with you. So you needn't exaggerate your performance. Just give it a little bit of flavor. As long as you don't tell anyone these emotions are beyond your grasp, no one will have any reason to suspect otherwise. Huh, neato. I'm feeling a lot better about this now. Expect you won't disappoint me. Aye, boss. So hey, Francois? What is it? What would you do if, hypothetically speaking, when I go down into the city, I learn what sadness and fear feel like? I would kill you because I would no longer have any interest in you. Awesome. Just glad you didn't say you'd kick me out. Every girl dreams of being killed by the man she loves. That is not an accurate statement. No. No, they do not. You want me to kill you? If it comes down to it, I guess. Though really, I'd rather be with you forever. Into the room, Jiren, now! You're gonna yank my arm off. I wouldn't have to if you would move. Listen very carefully. You stay in this room until everything is blown over. Do not open the door for anyone. But... Is this what I think it is? You're only to leave this room if I tell you it's safe or the manor goes completely silent. And if someone breaks down the door, tell them you're being held captive by the Lord. My predilections are well known among the people. No one will suspect you're lying. Let's go now. Farewell, Jiren. I rather enjoyed our time together. Wait, don't go. I've got an idea, Francois. We could escape through the window there. Tie the sheet up into a rope and climb down. Then we can go somewhere far away where nobody will find us. Do not have that liberty. Why not? Because I am the lord of this land. I was born to be the lord. I murdered my own family to keep my claim to this title, and I will not abandon it until my final breath. I was a fool and a tyrant, neither a great leader nor a great man, but I still bear the responsibility of my role. Fleeing is not an option. I never Never thought you were a tyrant. It's because you can't comprehend what a tyrant even is. The rest of my lordship would disagree with you. The rest of humanity would disagree with her. I used fear as a weapon of control, murdering slaves for fun, and prioritizing my own desires over the needs and lives of my people. Yeah, he was a tyrant. There's no, like, just 100%. Do you have a better word for what I am? Whereas you grasp the difference between good, you grasp the difference between good and evil, but lack the requisite emotions to give those concepts meaning. I knowingly chose to stray from the path of righteousness. Didn't you say you could run things just fine with fear? That it was very effective? Indeed, you can run things exceedingly well with fear, though I never said you could do so forever. First saw signs the people were turning against me 3 years ago. While I did what I could to crush the seeds of revolt before they grew, it would seem I missed a few. You knew this was coming, couldn't you have stopped it? I've traveled so far down the wicked path, it would be nigh impossible for me to find my way back into the light. Which means all I could do is continue on and see what awaited me at the end. I could never play the benevolent ruler again, though. Those people are inscrutable to me. They all appear to be either ravenous beasts or feeble-minded swine. Were I able to have any love for my own people, perhaps things could have turned out differently. I can't stay in here and wait, Francois. I want to be with... You'll do as I say, girl. What's gotten into you, Jiren? Death is supposed to be meaningless to you. You do not experience sorrow over loss, but should I not come back, go on smiling. Do not think I will simply let them walk in and kill me. I have dozens of skilled guards, and I can handle a sword myself as well. Far better than any mere peasant. They're getting close. Now remember, you are not to leave this room, understand? You are my property, and property does not defy the will of its master. And what if I do come out? Jiren, you will not be of any help to me out there, and should you obstruct me in any way, I will not hesitate to kill you. You do not have a choice. Is that clear? Francois? What? Time is running short. I love you. I will always place myself, the Lord Jean-Francois Barnier, above anything else in the world. And you second. Wait, second? It's kind of super crazy. Wow, isn't it? Whoa. I'm shaking a bit here. Never felt this way before. Is this what being scared feels like? Huh. This is a lot worse than I imagined. It hurts real bad, like someone's sitting on my chest. I can hardly even breathe right. But it's kind of really wonderful. No, I can't do this. I can't be away from him. A Requiem for Innocence, Part 2. What's past is prologue. That was all interlude. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? But our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of man's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. Wow, you couldn't make... They that make them are like unto them. So is every one that trusteth in them. Psalms 115:2-8. Jeez. Oh. Okay, so I guess we're going back to the previous Lord then. 'Tis a great shame what happened to Ginevra. No. It's not the previous Lord. Never mind. I thought that was, but clearly, if Jacopo's here... Okay, new random old dude. But the post-revolution merrymaking continued into the wee... We're gonna see his entire story through then, aren't we? We're seeing this until, like... We're seeing this until he dies. Holy crap. Post-revolution merrymaking continued into the wee hours of the morning. If that was the halfway point interlude. After things settled down and the men returned to city, an elderly man calling himself Odilon. Alright, well, just... assume that's wrong. It says it's translated from Portuguese.
Odilon.
I'm gonna say he doesn't look Portuguese.
Odilon.
Do one more French.
Odilon. Odilon.
Yeah, Odilon. Like, it's saying auto-translate from Portuguese, but like, he sure don't look it, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense here. There we go. Showed himself before me. Despite his evident age, the man stood tall and spoke in a clear, confident voice. Looking into his deep sapphire eyes, I felt as though I could see everything he had borne witness to in these walls engraved within them. Odilon revealed himself as an ally of the revolution and as having been in contact with Ginevra? Had things proceeded as initially planned, she was to take power and build the land anew with my assistance. But great change is never without its cost. Nevertheless, I am unspeakably grateful for how swiftly you managed to dethrone the former lord. Without your heroic efforts, we would still... Enough with the ass-kissing. Tell me who you are and exactly what you're hoping to get out of me. No need to be so apprehensive, I assure you. I am more than happy to tell you everything you wish to know. I served as consul to the late Lord Jean-Francois Bonnier, and 'twas I who aided the revolution from within the manor's walls, coordinating with Ginevra on the outside. So that make you the one who ordered the gates opened for us then? Verily. Furthermore, I arranged to have a number of the guards turncoat. Well, you did fine work. We would have lost a lot more men without your efforts. I have to ask though, where were you while it was actually happening? I don't recall seeing you anywhere. I took the liberty of finding myself shelter. How fortunate for you to be able to kick back and watch only to crawl out of your hole after we relieved the lord of his head. Might you perchance be suggesting this old bag of bones take up the blade? I would only serve as an impediment to your success. 30 years ago, mayhap, but hardly could I point a sword straight today. Or perhaps you would say that I, as a supporter of your cause, should have been present for the occasion regardless. What of little aid I would have been, merely dying a fool's death, becoming naught but another body upon which the living would tread. You're skilled with your words, old man. Of course, 'tis my job. There is but one service I can provide you, my knowledge. Knowledge? Meaning you intend to continue to serve as the Lord's counsel? What other reason would I lend my hand to this revolution? Old man, he's only 35. Yeah. Our French Germanic. Alright. I mean, it makes sense, but Google Translate was trying to say it was Portuguese, which clearly is accurate, but not in this specific circumstance. You expect me to just take your word, to trust you? Surely you're aware that you cannot rightfully govern this territory without the acknowledgement of the neighboring counts and the king. I have knowledge and connections which would prove invaluable in establishing you as legitimate and qualified to inherit the throne. Yes, I know, I did not saunter into here blind. I still hadn't figured out how I would accomplish that, but... Wait, I recognize you from somewhere. I remember. You were here during the revolution 3 years ago. You're the one who helped Barnier escape. 'Twas indeed I. It's all the more reason not to trust you. You sat back and watched on a damn peep as that clown of a lord left his people to rot. Like how I'm letting you be my counsel. You are an astute young man, but still far too green for your own good. And you failed to fully separate yourself from your old life. Excuse me? I assure you, I was no more fond of Lord Barnier's predilections than you. But as I'm sure you are aware, he was quick to send his opponents off to the gallows. And he would be no more merciful to his consul than a slum dweller. My objections would have ensured but one thing, a swift, meaningless death. Moreover, you knew it was not yet the time and stayed your hand, nay? I too had reached the same conclusion and was awaiting the appropriate time. The perfect time to rearrange the board. Ugh. You must dispense of this childish emotion that controls you. Act exclusively in service of what most benefits you. And you cannot do so without someone to guide you. You're still merely a fledgling, young man. You know not up from down in this vast new world. You have neither an army nor the weapons with which to defend yourself. Should you go out into that world unaccompanied, it will snap your neck before you feel the hands upon your skin. And what benefits are you hoping to reap from this? You're not acting out of love for the people, that much is obvious. A chance to fulfill my duties as counsel to the Lord. My expertise went largely unused under Lord Barnier's rule. It was a deeply frustrating time for me. Though if I may be blunt, perhaps I should say that I would like to die knowing I've accomplished something worthwhile with my life. I can promise you, I have no intention of mistreating the people for my own personal amusement. Still giving me no reason to actually trust you. Allow my work to speak for my words. Allow me to prefer unto you my knowledge, that it might be of service to you. I don't completely trust this man, nor do I think I ever will. He's after something. Probably wants to use me as a puppet under the guise of assisting me as my counsel. Makes a good point, though. I'll need someone to show me the ropes if I want any chance of governing effectively. We come to a decision. Okay. It's a pleasure to have you, Odilon. At your service. That said, try anything and you'll be out the door faster than you can blink. Understood. Good. Now, if I may, I would like to offer my first instruction. What would that be? You would need to make a formal proclamation of your succession. There are still many among your people who know not who you are. Thus, you must declare yourself the rightful heir, the lost son of Lord Barnier's predecessor. You must assume a new name. Say again, the name by which you were known before is but a veil behind which you guarded your noble identity, and the time has come now for you to reclaim your true self. Hold on a second. Yes, I am aware of your lineage. Okay then, what name do you suppose I should take? You shall assume his name, Jean-Francois Barnier. Is this some kind of sick joke? You're insane if you think I'm taking on that psychopath, the killer's name. Why on this green earth would I ever want to call myself after the man I dethroned? Among the nobility, names are oft passed on, from father to son, from brother to brother. But why his name? A name associated with fear and tyranny. Are you trying to hobble me before I take my first step? You'll remove the stain his deeds have left upon the name. Lord Barnier killed his father, brothers, and all their families, and attendants, as Ginevra likely told you. Why do you suppose he killed them? Are you mocking me, old man? He killed them because he was a damned madman. Lord Barnier was not the rightful heir. Excuse me. He was merely a stand-in to be disposed of and quietly replaced when came the time. However, he grew voracious for power, fixated on becoming a lord himself. Huh. He said he was the rightful heir. They just didn't want him there. He definitely... He is not a good person. But I honestly would believe Lord Barnier's story more than Odilon's right now. He was not just telling the story, but he was telling the story to the one person he knew would not judge him or care. Like, I'm not saying he's more trustworthy in general, but I'm saying he's more trustworthy in that specific context of those two talking. I don't think he would lie to her. I don't think he'd have any reason to. I think the reason he kept her around is because he didn't have to put on an act. Neither did she. It benefited them both in a really fucked up way. So, yeah. No, he ain't normal, but I don't think he'd lie to her. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. He didn't say he wasn't the heir they wanted. He said he wasn't the rightful heir. And the firstborn, by the rights of, like, you know, royalty and whatnot, is the rightful heir. Either way, he was merely a stand-in to be disposed of and quietly replaced when came the time. However, he grew voracious for power, fixated on becoming the Lord himself. So he killed everyone who stood in his way, both the Barnier family and the attendants who knew the truth. Though he failed to realize that the Lord had sired another son. You, the rightful inheritor of the Jean-Francois Barnier name. So that's our story, huh? Not the fake, he was. When the truth is revealed, the people will be enraptured, and crucially, the damage to the Barnier family name will be minimized. After all, the Barniers were but victims of this charlatan's avarice. Oh, okay, he wasn't even saying that's what happened, he's saying that's the story we're telling. As you are to take on the Barnier family name, it is to your benefit that the reputation you inherit is as unblemished as possible. Furthermore, you have nothing to gain from keeping your present name. No longer are you the man you were in the slums. You must become a new man entirely. Enough. I need time to think. A day. Give me just one. I cannot. It is a matter of the utmost importance. You must act swiftly, for the opportunity will pass and the tides turn against you anon. The people are on your side for now. However, should you fail to to quickly demonstrate that you are as their new lord, I've only expeditiously demonstrate that you are as the new lord, or likewise on their side, you will find yourself with more than the counts upon your doorstep. You must decide now, sir. All right, swallow my pride. I knew there would not need to be some changes before I embarked on this road, so this isn't unexpected, just moving quicker than I was prepared for. A wise decision. Now, before we move on to the next order of business, I must ask, are you physically well enough to remain on your feet for a short while longer? You will need to stand before your people and make a speech. Nevertheless, it is evident that you were wounded from your battle, and would reflect poorly on your accomplishments were you to collapse during your first appearance. I'll be fine. I can hold myself up long enough to give a speech. Oh ho ho, youth. What a wonderful thing. You must be sure to get your rest once we have finished. I will arrange for the best doctor to come examine you. Appreciate it. Now then, let us be off. You need merely repeat after me. Hey, did you hear the new Lord's speech? Barnier was a fraud this entire time. What? No way. My God, I should have skipped work and gone to the manor to see it. Still got a chance. Go down to the square. The town crier is spreading the word of the whole thing. Did you hear? The new lord led the charge of the revolution, and he was the real Jean-Francois Barnier. I heard. I was there for a speech. He's so young, and easy on the eyes to boot. They say he spent years living in the slums, hiding his true identity. That must have been so difficult for him. At long last, we're free from our suffering, free from the terror of Lord Barnier. Cheers for the new Lord Barnier. Oh, give me a break. You're no damn lord. How goes it, Maria? You look like you ain't slept in weeks. Yeah. Where's your smile, girl? Today's the day for celebrating. Oh, go fuck yourself. What? You're the one who pushed him into this. Huh? What are you getting pissy about? You pressured him into this dumbass revolution, into becoming the fucking lord. Whoa, that ain't what happened at all. Jacopo's the one who proposed the whole thing. Bullshit, he was trying to talk sense into you at the Midsummer Festival. God, for the love of cripes, we crawled up your ass and died. That batshit asshole's gone, and now we got someone on our side in power. What's there to complain about? Is there anything in that meathead of yours? No. What was that? You do realize he can never come back now, right? He's the Lord. He's gone, and he's gone for good. Up there in that manor, all by himself. And you dragged him up to the top of that hill and left him there. I get that you want something to take this out on, but Jacopo's also the one who proposed becoming the Lord. No. I didn't push a damn thing on him. He showed up one day with a ring bearing the Barnier family crest, then told everyone he was royalty and had a claim to the throne. This is insane. It was his words that sparked the revolution. There's no way. Jacopo is royalty? I need to get a better sense of humor. I thought it's exactly at first too, but then I saw the crest on the ring. It's the real deal. Did you miss the whole part where he put on the ring in front of everyone before we stormed the manor? His whole spiel about being the heir? It's pretty damn convincing, if I do say so myself. You seriously think I was there for some stupid pep talk? He is, friend. I feel like a friend should be rooting for success, you know? That's what I'm doing, I can say that much. Anyway, I got a hot date with a couple of kegs, so I'm out of here. Unless you want to come with. We're going to be partying all night long. Hell, I'm coming. Just thought I'd ask. Try not to look so sour all the time, okay? You're much prettier when you're smiling. Choking a dick, asshole. Maria continues to be the best part of this game. Undeniably so. Duly noted. Later. Yep, just the best part of this game. Can't root for him because he's my friend. I know better than anyone. He's in over his head. All I can do is pray for you, Jacopo. Pray that you'll always be the Jacopo we know. This won't change you. We're still friends, right? Even if we're worlds apart now. Yeah, he never really got to get a goodbye with her. He had a goodbye with, you know, everyone in the revolution, but she wasn't really in the revolution. After giving me just enough time to recover, Odilon quickly got to work, instructing me in everything I needed to know to be Lord. My first priority was to revitalize the city, cleaning up the mess my predecessor had left it in. As much as I wanted to ensure that everyone had food and water, it simply wasn't possible to make happen overnight. We needed to significantly expand our farmland, build additional granaries, repair existing irrigation canals, not to mention crack down on crime and disorder. There was so much to do, it was almost dizzying, but the last thing I had time to do was wine. That said, none of it could happen with a snap of the fingers. It would take time and manpower, which meant we would have to use existing stores in the meantime. I asked the people, particularly among the upper class, to relinquish ownership of their stockpiles for me to redistribute among the population. And they laughed at you and slammed the door in your face. That would allow everyone to make it through the transitional period, I figured. Naturally, though, not everyone was happy with the arrangement. What? You want to take the things that we worked for and give it to people who didn't? Just so that we all as human beings can survive and move forward in life? I think not. But the cries of dissatisfaction were drowned out by the cheers of support when I explained that it was for everyone's sake, that we would need to band together to carry the whole city through what would be a rocky transition. As I was patting myself on the back for a job well done, Odilon shook his head and said, "'Twill hold a year at most. We have enough stores to last at least 3 years, though. 2 if we want to be extra safe. They will set your manor ablaze long before the stores run dry." Excuse me? Why would they? I'm obviously doing everything in my power to revitalize the city. Damn, excuse me, hiccups tonight. And I was the one who freed them from the claws of the tyrant. People see only the results. Though they accept your promise of improvement now, if, in a year's time, they do not see those words bear fruit, their trust in you will wither away. That you came from the slums is viewed now as a heroic rise to power, but your past will soon be turned against you, used to delegitimize you. You must produce for them tangible results. God, I knew this wouldn't be easy, but still. It boils my blood to think my predecessor sat around on his ass all day. Did he even accomplish anything in his entire time as the Lord? I can think of only one truly positive effect of his regime. His support for the arts. His what? Surely you're seeing the numerous pieces of art adorning this manor's walls. He would often treat himself with works from the finest artists and artisans of the land. Oh, you mean all those paintings and vases and fancy drapes? Bunch of worthless junk, every last bit of it. None of it will do anything to fill the people's empty stomachs. It would seem you understand not the value of art. Well, I did grow up in the slums. Do you know what purpose art serves? To make you feel better? It's nice to have around, but not much more than that. Bribes, my boy. Those who hunger for power similarly hunger for ways to flaunt it, and the singularity of a piece of art fills that role. Some have a genuine appreciation for art, others merely use it as a tool. But nonetheless, skilled craftsmen, artists, and their work naturally gravitate towards those with power. It would be wise for you to consider dressing somewhat less pedestrian soon. Now, we should be able to put the former lord's possessions to good use in helping you build up valuable relationships. We can start handing out bribes? Indeed, but remember, they are negotiation tools. You must use them where they provide you the greatest returns. Negotiation, huh? Alright, I think I see what you're getting at. If I want to revitalize the city in a year, I'm going to need help from my good neighbors. In exchange for provisions and workers, I offer the various Count's pieces from Barnier's collection. Sound about right? Precisely. My, you are much cleverer than I would expect of a man from the slums. Now, if only you would become accustomed to this manner of thinking, you could become a fine leader in short order. I appreciate the concern, old man. I will dispatch messengers and arrange meetings with the Count so we can begin anon. And I do not have to remind you, but you will need to be very careful with your words, Lord Barnier. Yeah, I know. You seem quite tired, Lord Barnier. You think? Every day I have to go meet with someone new, and I spend all my travel time learning how to read and write. It's enough to exhaust anyone. 'Tis necessary nonetheless. Illiteracy will only... Yes, I know. You said I look tired, and I'm telling you why that is. I never said I had a problem with it. I overstepped. My apologies. Your diligence has been invaluable in earning the Count's favor, Lord Barnier. They think quite fondly of you. Is that so? Because that's certainly not the impression I'm getting. They put on a facade of friendliness, but beneath the surface they're all laughing, trying to figure out how to best use me, just outright scoffing. Not a one of them sincerely trusts me. Just a pawn to them. We are all pieces on another's board. What's that supposed to mean? It would be most prudent to consider that unqualified friendship simply does not exist in high society. All interpersonal relationships are built upon a foundation of mutual benefit, save for exceedingly rare, short-lived exceptions. Nonetheless, you should not consider being used as a bad thing. We all climb atop each other's boards, offering ourselves up as a powerful piece. And so do they offer themselves to us. Should you wish to survive in high society, you must always ensure your peers see you as a piece worth playing. That would mean you're putting yourself out there as well, old man. Indeed, I am your pawn, Lord Barnier. I offer myself to you, and in your using me, I gain this position as Counsel of the Lord. 'Tis a far more practical and reliable system than one founded on something so uncertain as emotion, would you not say? Which is to say, I am a pawn to him as much as he is to me. Suppose so, then I too will have to ensure I remain useful, lest I be swept aside and another Barnier brought in to take my place. Oh, sharp words, my lord. But worry not, for I have no qualms with your performance at present. Now, Lord Barnier, we must discuss your next... Hold on a sec, would you? Yes, sir? Do you mind not calling me Lord Barnier in private? I can understand why you'd want to keep up the shroud even when no one's looking. But frankly, I'm just not comfortable with it. Very well. Then, my lord it shall be. Can't say I'm surprised he won't use my real name, but still. Yeah, that'll do. Thank you. Not at all. Now back to business, my lord. Took long enough, but we're finally starting to see some real progress. Who knew negotiation was so much work? You should be proud of your accomplishments, my lord. 'Tis hardly an easy feat to amass that much manpower and resources in only 6 months. Doing better than expected, huh? How's public opinion looking? Reports should be coming in by now, I assume. Some dissatisfaction, but numbers are within expectations. Dissatisfied with what? Spent every waking moment these past 6 months working my ass off to revitalize the city. People aren't happy with that? They should be jumping with joy. My lord, you must understand that it is impossible to satisfy everyone. A degree of discontent is to be expected. Even so, it should be blindingly obvious how much better I'm doing than that previous basket of rainbows and kittens. All is forgotten on the gentle ebb and flow of time. Past injustices matter little in the face of the present. It hasn't even been a year. But people do not genuinely care about you, nor will they ever. They may sing your praises one day and forget about you the next. I believe we have been through this before. Surely there's someone out there who gets it. It is wishful thinking, my lord. You could work yourself to your very bones, and the people would merely see you as fulfilling your duty. You must not seek their approval. More will be expected of you, and more will you be the subject in undeserved resentment, for the simple reason that you exist in a position of power. Only those in a similar position can understand your hardships. Ultimately, then, you have two choices. Either dedicate yourself in service of your people, or mercilessly exploit them like your predecessor. I won't follow in that bastard's footsteps. I pray your heart remains true, that you remain a wise and caring lord. Damn it. So what specifically aren't the people happy about? The foremost is food shortages. This was anticipated, and all we can do is ask them to persevere. The second comes from the upper class. Go on. They are, quite naturally, displeased about being made to surrender their stockpiles. It would be prudent to offer them remuneration in the near future. They're doing well enough for themselves already. My lord. I know, just letting off some steam. So I get to butter up all the rich men in town. Wonderful. The whole idea was to help the less well-off, yet here I am. I understand that you are not pleased about this, my lord, but do remember you have more to fear from a few of the upper class banding together than the entirety of the slums. For they wield a most troublesome weapon, an upper-class upbringing. They know precisely who to tell and what to tell about you to tarnish your reputation in the blink of an eye. Do not placate yourself by thinking the common man will see through the attempts to undermine you. Even if they did, an unlikely supposition, they could do nothing to counter it. They are powerless. But it was the people at the bottom who pulled most of the weight, organizing and executing the revolution. It was an exceptional set of circumstances that allowed the revolution to take place as it did, not the least of which was the Lord's status as unequivocally evil in the eyes of the people. You will not find them all agreeing on anything so readily now. Alright, I get it. Point is, I gotta win over all the rich people, or my whole operation's gonna come to a grinding halt, right? So as much as it rubs me the wrong way, I'll do what I have to do. Wise decision, my lord. Is that the last of the complaints? No. The influx of immigrants has caused an increase in general unrest. Some things never change. Ugh. There's people around me that are slightly different than me. Ugh. Of course it has. Bring them in to help with the restoration effort, and they go and cause their own new set of problems. It's like I'm chasing my tail here. So long as there are people under your authority, never will you be completely free of strife. You're telling me. So would increasing the guards' presence in the city help keep the peace? Most of those with the training necessary are already deployed, meaning you need to have new guards trained from the ground up. You'll have to mobilize them where they are most needed. In other words, tighten your grip on the slums. So now I gotta take away their freedom. I know you have a personal attachment to that area, my lord, but you must cast that aside. No longer are you the man you once were. The slum should have never been allowed to fall into such lawlessness in the first place. You will merely be restoring it to its proper state. If you truly wish to bring prosperity to this land, you must eventually scale down and then eliminate the slums. If I get rid of the slums, I'll be getting rid of their home. My lord, I know, I understand what you're getting at, and I understand that everything you're saying is perfectly logical. Can we hold off on that for a bit? A bunch of guys down there form this peacekeeping group too, you know. Keep the peace. They'll gladly help out if we could talk to them, I'm sure. We can scale up our patrols, but no stepping on their toes. Got it? It's a command, my lord. Ah, we finally see him in that attire again. Hard to believe it's been a whole year. Feels like I only just started yesterday, yet also like I've been doing this forever. You're looking somewhat worse for wear, my lord. Do I? Who am I kidding? You're right. On the other hand, you don't look like you've even lost an hour of sleep this entire year. Goes to show how inexperienced I really am. While it is true that I have been in this position for many years, I also do not bear nearly as much responsibility as you. I merely stand in the background and offer you a small piece of advice. All the while, you face the crowds directly, negotiate with counts, make dozens of difficult decisions. If there is one thing I have learned in all my years, it's that I could never begin to imagine the weight a ruler must carry. Never mind one who was never raised to take the throne and thrust themselves into the labyrinth of politics and high society. It would be a greater surprise if the trials had not taken their toll. That reminds me, Barnier was Lord for a full decade before we took him out, wasn't he? As I recall, he wasn't as much of a despot early on. Just 1 year's taken this much out of me. How much longer before I'm no longer able to act like a reasonable human being? No, don't think like that, Jacopo. Actually, forget it. What matters is that we seem to be doing a good job minimizing discontent. Indeed, you have successfully made it through the first year. The city is decidedly more presentable than it was when you took the throne. There are precious few who could replicate your accomplishments in such short time, my lord. You would do well to take pride in your work. Pushing to do everything so quickly has taken its toll. The people are worn thin, slaves are dying by the droves. I still have a ways to go before there's anything I can be proud of. Slaves are the tools of progress, my lord. Tools do not last forever and must be replaced regularly. Ooh. And you can't build a house with your bare hands, I get it. You learn quickly. Not even a year ago, I would have been up in arms about the number of slaves dying. But now, they're just numbers to me. Apparently, my worldview has changed quite a bit. It's about time we started considering our next step. Meaning? Meaning your efforts thus far have been toward repairing the damage caused by your predecessor. Make it sound like all this has just been a warm-up. My apologies. I did not mean to discount your great efforts, my lord. I was simply speaking of the grander scheme. Yeah, I got that. You want to settle on a direction for how to grow the city, right? Indeed. The status quo is vastly inadequate for bringing prosperity to the land, and there's no saying when the surrounding territories may cease being so friendly, and set their eyes upon conquering us. But of course, you cannot keep your eyes trained outward in fear of attack and allow the land to devour itself from the inside either. So what you're saying is, it's a balancing act. Precisely. So, what kind of advancements do I want to pursue? There is something that's been on my mind. This land is ill-suited to growing crops. When I lived down in the slums, I had no perspective and figured that what we produced here was no different than anywhere else. But now I know better. The grapes used for our wine are miserable compared to what had been served elsewhere, as is nearly everything else we grow. I can only assume the land itself is to blame. Oh ho ho, the wine from the south is indeed exceptional. You quite nearly gave me a heart attack when you left from your chair in the middle of a meeting, shouting, "This is nothing like the wine from home." Enough, that never happened. It's my first time tasting anything like it, alright? Anyone would have had the same reaction. Oh ho ho, you've grown much, but nevertheless you're still quite green. God, I really need to watch myself around this man. In any case, it would be ideal if we could begin producing higher quality grapes, not necessarily to compete with the south, but enough to be serviceable. Efforts to improve our farmland are underway, although it could take some time before we see the progress. Have you any propositions, my lord? Actually, I was thinking it might be best to cut back on agriculture. Do elaborate. What if we were to build the city up into a trade hub of sorts? Meaning, you wish to open our gates to our neighbors. Exactly. One thing the city has going for it is its wealth of artisans. But for years, we've only ever exported our goods. I want to bring people here to purchase. We reduce taxes for merchants and give them special privileges. Set tariffs and border taxes lower than they are in the capital, and business will naturally find its way here. This land may be less than optimal for farming, but it's more than adequate for trade. We're in a convenient location to serve as a hub for the surrounding realms. Rather than close our borders and wall ourselves off entirely, opening up and making ourselves of value to our neighbors is far more likely to dissuade potential invasion. We're all pieces on one another's board, isn't that right? Who says that can't apply to the entire city? The best way to expand without stepping on anyone's toes is to do so in a way that benefits them as well as us. What do you think? Rather aggressive strategy you propose, my lord. If I may be so bold, there will be many obstacles to this plan's success. You will need to arrange meetings with the head of each realm you intend to invite, the order and timing of which will be crucial to its success. Furthermore, the influx of outsiders will be a source of much tension among your people. So you think I'm aiming too high? You are indeed aiming exceedingly high. The obstacles will be numerous and precipitous. Nonetheless, obstacles can be overcome. Your exhaustion is nothing compared to the weariness that awaits you down this path. Do be well aware of this, my lord. Damn right I am. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. Yes, what your main obstacle will be you will need to set up a church where you sell blood as a miracle cure in order to make the city work for this trade. The Lord's Manor sat atop a tall hill. Gazing out, the city stretched before me. Countless columns of smoke rising from the buildings, the people scurrying about like so many ants. From up here, I had the perfect view of the bustle of the city, but I was too far away to feel the life breathing through it. I think I used to be one of those tiny little specks. Thousands of people lived there. They had families, jobs, friends, hobbies. But as much as I was cognizant of that fact, I no longer grasped it on anything more than a conceptual level. It was incredible just how much my view of the world had changed in merely a year's time. I'm going to go out into the world, I said. Thought that clawing my way to the top of the ladder would let me see it, let me experience it, that with power I could have the whole world at my fingertips. But reality wasn't so simple. It sure isn't what I was looking for. Hell, I feel like the chain's just gotten tighter around my neck. There's no way to truly grasp the view from the height without climbing up and seeing it for yourself. That was exactly where I was a year ago, blind to the reality of life in the upper echelons, fantasizing about a world that didn't exist. Unlike the me of the past, I did have the satisfaction of feeling like I was accomplishing big things. Was that really worth cutting myself off from all my friends? Did those achievements really justify a bloody revolution? Or, I suppose I should ask, was this work valuable enough to me to justify it all? Reminiscing about days long gone wasn't going to help anything, and in fact it only served to cause me pain. I couldn't return to that time. This is where my quest for power had brought me, and now I had to live out my days as the lord of this land, telling myself day after day that it was far better than being a powerless slum rat. I've been so busy this past few weeks. My eyes are... One day, I'll show you the world. Do you ever get tired of saying that? Gotta think big, dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it day by day is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined to this tiny little corner of the world. Well, trying to let your dreams go so big they crush you. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets too overwhelming. Why would I be there? Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you, you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good deal, huh? I don't need to see the world. All I want is... Dozed off for a second there. Feels like those days were an eternity ago. Don't need to see the world. All I want is... All I want is what? What are you trying to tell me? Man, it feels like a whole different place here now. You think? Looks like the same old nasty dump it's always been. Let's talk about the whole city, you dolt. Exactly. Things are on the up and up in the city proper, but we ain't seen a scrap of it down here. What's up with that? All the new shops spilling out past the city borders, the highway into town's turned into a full-blown bazaar. Oh, sounds nice. Is there anything in that damned head of yours? We're saying how come we're still living like rats if they got enough spare coin to build all that market space? Hell, with all these damn immigrants coming in, the slums are an even bigger shithole than before. You know, never thought much of it till now, but you're right. Gang's been a lot busier lately with all the drifters. And Jacopo, Lord Barnier, ain't showed his mug down here even once since he took over. I mean, I get that the bloody lord can't spend all day hanging out in the slums, but he could at least visit. Instead, he's spending all his time buddying up with the rich folks. And we used to be such good friends, too. I wonder if he's planning to just not bother with us at all. I hope not, but that's sure what it's looking like. I think he'd at least throw us a bone rather than letting the merchants and upper class take coin baths in his coffers. Guess when he became one of them, he became just like them, too. Feels like we're in the exact same place we were a year ago. It's no different than the old Barnier. What, you think Grantian was going to do any better? You think if he was the Lord, he would have... God, oh, it's you. Did you find anything? Yep, got the proof he was looking for. But if you'd be so kind as to never give me a job like this again, I'd be hanged thrice over if the nobles found out I was sniffing around in their business. Oh, quit being such a bitch. You didn't steal nothing or kill anyone. You're fine. Man's secrets can sometimes be worth more than his life. But on to business. Your suspicions were correct. Well, fuck me sideways. Here's your pay. Take it and piss off. That's doing business. Hey, hold up now. I risked me neck to get that for you. And this is all I get in return? Got a problem with that, you little bitch? Damn. No, sir. Don't you worry. You'll get your fair due shortly. That doesn't sound in any way threatening. These construction costs are really starting to pile up. Can we put the manor repairs off until we've taken care of more pressing matters? Like using that money to help the poor. The Lord and his residents are the face of his land. If you wish for the city to continue thriving upon the fruits of your relationship with the surrounding realms, you must maintain a minimum level of respectability, my lord. Merchants in particular are merciless judges of appearance. Of this you can be certain. No respectable merchant will do business on equal terms with a city whose lord refuses to take care of his own home. I get that, but still, it's so much money. These are necessary expenses. To acquire the resources required to aid the lower class, we must increase the rate of production. Efforts must begin at the top to gradually work down. You must not be in such a great rush, my lord. The work you are performing is of a much larger, longer scale than perhaps that of which you are accustomed. You have a point. Then let the construction continue. Definitely coming to see just how crucial a bit of embellishment can be to surviving in high society. Every engagement is like throwing myself into a lion's den. Everyone surrounding me, measuring me up. They're questioning my pedigree, some with their eyes, some with their mouths. Some even attempt to dig up dirt on me in order to tilt the scales in their favor. Oh yeah, and there was that one time when I was straight up shouted at right up to my face. You're no more a damn noble than any of those other rats whose nest you crawled out of, if I recall. Not that it was wrong. Took the throne by force. It's only natural that people are going to have their suspicions. That I came from the slums is just icing on the cake. Damn lucky if condescension is the worst treatment I get on our first encounter. And then there are the distant relatives. Barnier let slip through the cracks, slithering back up to assert their right to the land. There are a lot more people out there to get me than I first anticipated. To remain strong, my lord. Will always be strong. If I so much as let these wolves smell weakness, they'll pounce all over me. Like hell I'm gonna let that happen. I won't have time to work on helping the poor if I have to spend my days fending off packs of bloodthirsty nobles. I must always appear strong under any circumstances. I, of all people, should know just how easily a lord can be dethroned. And I'll be next if I leave even the slightest opening. I have to do whatever it takes to make sure that's not my future. Perhaps you should get some rest, my lord. Excuse me, are you insane? I have to review the construction budget so that... Allow me to handle that. I'll get you something to drink. Perhaps a glass of that southern wine you're so fond of. It is quite sweet, perfect for alleviating built-up fatigue. I'm not fatigued. Come now, please take this request from an overly concerned counsel, my lord. Fine, you win. It's hard to believe it's only been a year and a half. I feel like we go way back. Oh, we do see each other every day after all. Started to crave some variety, to be honest. Never found a good opportunity to ask you this, but... Yes? Do you have any family? Because if you do, you're more than welcome to have them live here. I appreciate your concern, my lord, but they have all passed away. All of them? Indeed. My entire family was eradicated at the previous lord's order. Oh. Once, and only once, I offered him my humble opinion. So infuriated was he by my insolence that he had my family murdered. Look, damn. I'd have much preferred myself killed in their stead. But he was a man who reveled in other sufferings. And he just kept on serving them? That's correct. I acted as his loyal servant, too afraid to speak up again. Acted? Recall what I said when we first met. I was sitting in wait for the perfect opportunity. Now you understand why. Well, damn. And if I may come clean about that time, I had every intention of disposing of the revolution's puppet master. Never once did I trust Ginevra. Her foolish motives were plain as day. The new lord's mother, she planned to control her planted usurper from the shadows, acting as the effective governor of the land. Having no family left myself, the city and its people are like my children. So I refused to stand by and allow her to turn them into tools to satisfy her own avarice. The land would hardly survive a tyrant sweeping in to replace a tyrant. But she was removed from the board by the former lord before she had a chance to see her aspirations to fruition. Knowing she was no longer a danger, I decided I would wait and see how the successor fared before taking any further actions, to determine if you were sufficient to serve as the lord of this land. I guess I passed, huh? Are you not upset, my lord? Nothing to be upset about. You never hid the fact that you acted in your own interest, that if a piece had no value to you, you discarded it. I always knew there was more than what you were telling me. I'll just say, I'm relieved to still be standing here. Ho ho ho, if only you knew how close you were to failing on the other side of that line. Really that on edge, after all the work I've put into this? While you do have a rare aptitude and strength of spirit, you're still much too easily swayed by your emotions. Ergo, I shall continue to instruct you until you are able to fully satisfy my expectations. 'Tis rather curious. So oft do we speak, so great our time together. I have come to think of you as my second son. Don't get all mushy on me, old man. We're not friends and we're not family. I'm a pawn on your board and you're a pawn on mine. Strictly business. Ho ho ho, my apologies. I never said a word. Right, never happened. Moving right along. You just keep doing what you do best. At your service, my lord. Out of curiosity, do you have any free hands around capable of riding a horse? For what purpose? There's someone I want found. Whoever it may be you wish to find, my lord, I'm obliged to remind you that. You don't even have to finish that, I know. I'm supposed to leave the past in the past. Let us see then. Your men have their hands rather full at present, though we can perhaps arrange for one of them to be reassigned. Are you sure? It is a small request, and not once in your entire tenure have you requested to use your men for personal matters. I believe we can spare a hand or two on such rare occasions. Much appreciated. Shall I arrange for them to set off immediately? Oh, this ain't gonna go well either. Please. I'm looking for a girl. If she's alive, she'll look around 13 or 14. She has unusual markings on her face. Oh, I thought he was gonna look for Maria. But I guess he knows where she'd be. Markings akin to burn scars. Bernier once imprisoned her in this manner. He used her as a prop for his banquets, cutting her up from head to toe. My guess is that the patches on her face are a result of Barnier's abuse. Indeed, I know the girl. I presumed she had not survived the slave revolt. Take it you care quite deeply about this girl, my lord. Then allow me to offer my sincerest apologies in his stead. No need to apologize. Will you help me find her, Odilon? I will oversee the search operation personally to the best of my ability, my lord. I pray the girl is still alive. As do I, unlikely as it may be. I'm just chasing after a sliver of a dream that shattered long ago. That said, if you do find her alive, bring her here without telling her it's at the Lord's order. She'll likely assume it's the old Barnier who's after her if you say anything. And if she happens to have found a new home where she's happy, just leave her be. Understood. Time drifted slowly onward. As I'd anticipated, there was no news regarding her whereabouts, but new shops and stalls continued opening in the city, with them coming a steady flow of travelers and passing merchants. And as traffic through the city increased, so too did the number of people seeking an audience with me. I was getting busier by the day. My plans to attract merchants and artisans from the capital had worked, and every one of them seemed to have a bigger, more ambitious proposition than the last. My days became a cycle of meetings, reviewing propositions, balancing the budget, and deciding whether to proceed or postpone, and amidst all the tumult, my thoughts drifted ever further from the poorest of my people. That's the last of the day's meetings. There's no end in sight to this. It's a good thing, my lord. It means you have succeeded in drawing traffic to the city. I guess, but still. I need to go back and review all these proposals, so... Lord Bernier, a moment! I don't have a moment to spare. Townsperson requests an audience with the Lord. You've been instructed to deny entry to commoners. I tried, but he refuses to leave the gate. Hold on. What's this man's name? Sir, he calls himself Gratien. Oh shit, is it really him? Let him in, by all means. My lord, you mustn't give anyone special treatment. Gratien's not just anyone. We've been to hell and back together. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. I should hear what he has to say. No, my lord, you cannot. Your past is... He's a good friend. I'm not sending him away. It's not even on the table. Friend or not, you mustn't give him an audience. You are the lord now, and he's a mere peasant. You cannot be certain he will hold himself with proper decorum. I don't appreciate what you're implying about my friend, old man. Oh, he definitely won't handle himself with proper decorum. I'd be truly shocked if he did. Over here. That's sure a Halloween outfit. He's no goddamn brute. Are you sure of that? Look, I'm not saying he's not your friend, but he can be both. I imply nothing, my lord. Keep your counsel to topics you actually know something about. I'm not going to stand by and listen to anyone insult my friends, not even you. My lord, must I remind you yet again to keep your temper in check? That's enough out of you. I'm done. Not another word on the subject. My lord. Hey, guard, open the gate. Yes, sir. Sup, Jacopo? It's been ages. Feels like forever. How have you been doing? Never been better. How about you, kid? Show proper respect to your lord, peasant. You would refer to him as Lord Barnier, not any false names he may have responded to while in hiding. Seriously? You can let him kick back even for a buddy? Enough, Odilon. You can call me by my old name. My lord. Said I've heard enough from you. And look at you, taking charge and barking orders all important like. You're a whole new man, my lord. Please, you can use my name. Dead serious, though. Hard to believe it ain't even been 2 years. You seriously look like a whole new man. You think so? I don't feel like I've changed all that much myself. I don't know, you just, what's the word? Emanate lordliness now. Guess it don't take long in the noble's den to turn into one of them, no matter how far down the chain you come from. Look at this room. Look at all these fancy fucking furnishings. None of this is old Bernier stuff, is it? Nope. With all the meetings I've been having, I need to make sure I have a room that was nice and presentable. Well, that's one way to put it. Hey, don't think I'm just throwing around money for the fun of it. If I want any pull in the negotiations, I need to look like I have... Let me explain yourself, kid. I totally get it. Ain't easy dealing with a bunch of rich folks with sticks up their asses. I appreciate it. Anyway, what brings you here today? Whoa, bud, do I need a reason to visit a friend? Can't a guy just want to hang out and catch up? Come on. I never said that. I'm just extremely busy at the moment. I don't have much time to spare for anyone. Come on, don't be such a tight ass. That's exactly why I'm here. To make sure you don't get that stick up there so deep it punctures your brain. Gotta let loose sometimes. I suppose. Thank you for your concern. So let's get sloshed, just like old days. I even brought the booze. I wish I could, but I don't have the time. You'll drink with merchants and rich snobs, but not me? That stings, kid, right to the gut. I see you're as pushy as ever. Alright, fine. One drink in the back room. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. My lord. I'll be fine, Odilon. We go back years. There's nothing wrong with a couple of friends sharing drinks after hours. You insist, my lord, but the peasant must leave his blade behind. I will not under any circumstances allow you to be alone with an armed slum dweller. Yeesh, everyone here needs to listen up, huh? You seriously think I'm going to pull a sword on an old pal? Oh no, he's definitely going to pull a sword on an old pal. I thought it was Maria who betrayed him. Because we didn't hear who, we just heard like a friend, right? And we didn't know he existed at that point. I mean... Ooh, humor me. Whatever, fine, you win, old-timer. Happy now? Yes. Sorry about that, Gratien. Old Alon's always on edge. It's nothing personal. Nah, it's cool. Can't say I blame him. Now let's get trashed. Because we know things haven't been great for the slums, though this is the first we're hearing of his opinion on it. We've heard other people. We have not heard him until now. So, but a little something from the pub we used to haunt. Bet you usually drink way better shit than this now that you're the freaking lord. But it'll be like old times, you know? This reminds me of the time we had that drinking contest. Want to go another round? I'll have to refrain. Odilon would murder me if I did that. Sounds like the geezer's got you by the balls, huh? No fun allowed up here in the Lord's house. It can be rather suffocating, yeah. Well, you can at least let loose today. To old times, kid. To old times. Now, this is the sight I never dreamed of. Two of us here in the Lord's manor drinking together. We're both slaves when we were both slaves when we met, for God's sake. Ha, no fucking joke. You never know what life will bring you. Been almost 5 years since then. You weren't even 20 yet. In fact, we've both grown quite a bit since those days. Or are you still running around like a wild boar even now? Hard to say. I don't think I'm as bad as I used to be, but getting into shit kind of comes with the territory, you know? And the slums are still the same as ever. Let's see. So how's everyone doing down there? We're just scraping by as usual. The rest of the gang, and Maria? Guys are still lazing about in the pub all day. Maria's rebuilt the brothel, just getting by as best she can. Obviously not in the same place, and it's smaller than the old one. But for a chick, she's doing alright for herself. Glad to hear it. So tell me, kid, you and her totally had a thing, yeah? Where on earth did that come from? I believe I've already told you no, we didn't. Seems like she's about 10 times more worried about you than anyone else. Must have been something. Look, you can deeply care for somebody, and they can be massively important to your life as a friend. That is not impossible. At all. Just because they cared for each other deeply does not mean it was romantically. Even if he wasn't family, even if it was just the best of friends, that doesn't make it romantic, and it doesn't mean it has to be. Like, that is one thing that grinds my gears in more modern media, is the assumption that, like, I am super glad that you can see more gay and lesbian relationships in media. That is a very positive thing. Fuck yeah, representation. Fuck yeah, people being able to see themselves in media. 100,000,000% for that. But I feel like it comes at the slight cost of, if you see two men or two women in media who truly care for one another, it has to be that they're in a relationship. It can't be that just they're just that good friends. And again, it's awesome that it's still taking its time, and it's still not in every form of media, but it's still awesome that, like, these types of relationships can be shown to a wider degree than they used to be. Even if it still often ends with, like, writers and producers and animators being out of jobs and ostracized, but progress. That's a minor little thing. That's true. It's the exact same thing that's always been with male and female friendships. You're correct. You're correct. That's just, man. It's I always like the terminology from Jay and Silent Bob, hetero life mates. Like, those two would do anything for each other. Not romantically, but, you know. Maybe Jay and Silent Bob aren't the best examples, but I like the terminology. That must have been something. It don't make sense otherwise. Maybe she just had a thing for you and you never saw it. Poor girl. There were no romantic feelings on either side. We were friends. Simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. Have you seen those honker? What does that have to do with anything? Just don't make sense to me. How can a guy only be friends with a chick? Yeah, he was never going to get it. But we also know that he has only one brain cell. It just means we value certain things in life differently. You know, you like to do that sometimes. Get all weirdly noble like that. Really, it's upper class and noble to be friends with somebody without trying to bang them? Really? That's an upper echelon type thing? That's oh, fancy. Yeah, I didn't mean that as a jab. It's nothing to do with being noble. Maria's special. We've known each other most of our lives, and we survived hell together. Oh yeah, you mentioned that before, didn't you? That you two have known each other longer than anyone else. What was it like back then for the two of you? Before I met her, Maria was raised in an orphanage. She said she ran off because she and the director didn't get along. Huh, can't say I'm surprised. How about you? I hardly remember anything from before I came to the city. Excuse me. Yeah, if there's anything we know about nobility, it's that, look, they can be friends with opposite genders because they're probably banging their siblings. Gotta keep that bloodline pure. Right? Yeah, I read that. Just bits and pieces of what my mother told me. Being guarded by a bunch of men, being kidnapped by bandits. You mean that noble woman? Real shame you had to lose her so soon after reuniting, huh? Indeed it is. Huh. Don't you think it's about time you cut the shit? Excuse me? You're not a Barnier. You didn't inherit the throne. You're just a damn fraud. Is that right, Jacopo? What are you talking? It's finally starting to kick in, looks like. God, you got any idea how hard it was not to throttle you through that entire conversation? What? Yeah, almost out of nowhere, my heart rate skyrocketed and my legs started trembling so violently I had to lean against the wall to support myself. The whole world started swirling. And I could just barely make out my old friend glaring at me through the fog. How you like that? Feels like your heart's about to burst, don't it? Don't you worry, kid. You won't be feeling nothing soon. You poisoned the drinks? What? Why? No. You poisoned your drink. Why would you? Why? You seriously need me to spell it out for you? You've been stuffing your head with fucking rainbows up here. You want to know why they call you down to the slums? Jacopo the betrayer. I did not betray. Take one goddamn look at the city and tell me that again. While you're up there treating anyone with a cart and some trinkets to sell like fucking royalty, the slums is still the same rat's nest you left it. Now we're even worse off now. With your new marketplace, anyone can turn a little bit of money into a big pile of gold. But if you got nothing to begin with, you're just dead in the streets. All you're doing is making the rich even richer. No, I'm trying. I wanted to explain how I had everything planned out. I first needed to improve the economy as a whole before I could turn my attention to the less well-off. That nothing changing was proof I was protecting them. That the slums had been in danger of being eradicated entirely, and I had stopped it. But I could see in his eyes that nothing I said would convince him. As far as he was concerned, I was pure evil. You're not the man you used to be. Gratien, why? I thought you believed in me. Damn right I did. And then you went and fed us a bunch of lies. You called yourself the rightful heir. You called yourself a Barnier. I did my digging. You don't got a lick of royal blood in you. All you ever wanted was to line your pockets, you selfish bastard. No, You never had any intention of helping us. Please, hear me out, Gratien. We were all just pawns to you. The whole damn revolution was a part of your game. Begging you. How does it feel knowing your throne sits on the backs of all the people you betrayed? Please. You don't have any right to call yourself the goddamn Lord. Gratien. Hell, you barely have any right to call yourself a fucking man. Just a rat in fancy clothes. Should have been me. Look, we all know he would have done way worse, right? Like, we know and accept this, right? Like, everyone but him accepts this. Like, he definitely would have been worse. I would have made an infinitely better lord than you ever were. If he was the lord, no one would have respected him, and he would have been out of money in about 20 minutes. Yeah. If only I had had that ring, then it could have been me. That's what this is all about. In a flash, everything I once felt for this man, all the friendship, the camaraderie, the sympathy, went cold. As much as he tried to dress up this whole farce, that was where his heart truly was. He was just sour about not being the one who got to be Lord. He believed himself superior. He got himself caught up in this stupid fit of jealousy. Now he's trying to kill me over it. That's seriously all this is? Are you listening to a word you're saying? What was that? You're the one who's not the man he used to be. And you're the one who's being a self-centered bastard. Talk all you want, dead man. The Grantien I knew would never resort to using poison. He'd have drawn his sword the second he passed through those gates, faced me like a man. But look at you. Even Barnier had more of a spine than you. He's not wrong, though. Barnier was a way worse person. But he did face his assailants head on with a sword. Until he ran away at the end of it, but you know. Yeah. It's he is trying to help, but he's gotten up here and realized that you can't just go, the slums are rich now. You cannot do that. Not because, you know, because an infinite number of reasons that, like, there's so much of a tight, like, skein up there. You can't just pluck one thread out and put it over there. You have to subtly adjust everything to move it over. But, rightfully so, he didn't see that when he was on the ground, and the people on the ground now can't see that either. Because why would they? All they see, and again, rightfully so, is, man, shit's still bad. Like, it's impossible for them to see the other side. Either way. Yeah, the system's absolutely designed to maintain the status quo. And all he's trying to do is get enough money to make enough renovations that, like, you know, maybe everyone can eat. And it's taking him 5 years and he's not there yet. Because he has to do all this jumping through hoops to even get to the point where he can expand the farmland and improve the farmland. That's the other thing. If they were in an area where, like, the farmland was okay, they would just need more of it. They not only need more of it, they need it better, which I imagine is a much harder thing. Communication was the problem, but also it's the time frame. At that point, if you were a lord, you did not even communicate with the lower class at all. Not even a little. Mind you, he could have found ways. He could have sent out somebody incognito. I mean, look, if they can secret someone to take a prostitute out of the brothel and secret her up to the castle for a few days every week or so, he could send a letter or two to spread word of, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's going to take time. But the thing is, like, even if he did, even in the hypothetical where he did, I honestly, like, why do my fingers look weird? I've been absentmindedly pulled the label off of a Coca-Cola, and I've just kind of been twirling the plastic in my hands, and clearly some of the dye came off of my fingers, specifically this hand. I thought it was just lighting, but, like, nope, that's red dye. Cool. That's what I get for just, like, I have a fidget cube. Why would I do that instead? Yeah, you can just see it rub off on the paper towel. All right, but like even if he did hypothetically, like, send some sort of message down to somebody who might trust him, let's say Maria, at some point, it is impossible for them to understand that, like, yeah, this is not something I can immediately do. I definitely didn't think I was bleeding. I thought it was a weird shadow, like, I'm gonna have to wash my hands, which is fine. I just thought it was a weird shadow at first. Then I saw my hand and I was like, oh yeah. So I don't know if he would have had a better, like, I'm sure there's somewhere out there a better course of action, but it really does seem, from what little we've been shown of the time, the place, the aristocracy, whatnot, that he has done the best he can, and he was given the hard choice. You can give everything you have for your people, or you cannot. And he committed to, well, I'm not going to sleep much, I'm not going to do much, but I'm going to do everything I can for them. Yeah, correct, there is no winning. Because as long as there is slums, which, to be fair, he protected, and I get why he did, And I'm not even saying that's wrong. There is no winning in this case. Because if he'd gotten rid of the Slums, yes, they wouldn't be here to be mad at him about it, and he'd have other things to take care of, but then they'd be out to where? Where would they go? Who knows? Nowhere good, I'm sure. So it's all screwed all the way down. You know. But we can 100% say that he is being more cowardly right now than the old Barnier was, because he wouldn't, well, no, he would just poison people, but when somebody charged his throne room, he still pulled out a sword. And he definitely would not have been a better lord. Yeah, the old man definitely, yes. Yeah, 100%. Dare compare me to that sack of shit? Alright, fine, I'll play it your way. He had a knife hidden on him. An instant later, Gratien was brandishing a short blade. You can't possibly think that this makes you less cowardly. Throwing a knife on a man you've already poisoned? That's not a fair fight. That's not beating someone. It's being a chicken. An instant later, Garnier was brandishing a short blade. He had snuck it in under his clothes, I presumed. I was almost amazed at how thoroughly prepared he was. He'd never had any intention of this going any other way. He hadn't come to talk. He was never going to hear me out. He was here to do one thing and one thing only. And I doubted he had any plans for what would come next. Raw hatred was all that fueled him. He wouldn't take my place after killing me. He wouldn't work himself to the bone to ensure the city kept running. He didn't give a single damn about any of that. You're scum! I won't be taken down by some worthless, self-absorbed rat. Nothing I'd ever tried had been enough to best Gratien in combat. That was when I was at my peak, not when the myriad needles of his poison pricking my every pore, barely able to stand under my own weight. But still, I had no intention of surrendering my life to this cur. I took in a deep breath, clenched my teeth, shouted at my shaking limbs, "Move! Move! 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 Move, damn you!" My fingers, I could feel them again. Before the thought finished passing through my mind, my hand reached for a blade. Grasping the rapier hanging from the wall, I swiftly drew it from the scabbard. It was a decorative blade, not meant for combat. It would probably bounce right off Gratien's muscular chest. There was one place I could target. Rot in hell, you son of a bitch! Knife in hand, he lunged at me. Just moments before death befell me, my vision, blurred by the poison, grew unbelievably clear. Gratien almost appeared to be moving in slow motion. I wasn't sure my mind had ever been so clear, so sharp in battle before. The dying embers of my fading life burned anew into a blazing inferno. Unlike my fight with Barnier, this one was over in an instant. Before I had time to breathe or even blink, it was settled. And in that same instant, everything I had built up with this man turned to dust. I had never once defeated him. For as long as I had known him, I was always, always, always number 2. And now, for the very first time, I won. Why did it have to be you there? Not me. The blade of the rapier in my hand skewered Gratien's throat. His mouth flapped open and shut like a fish. He glared at me, face twisted in a mixture of hatred and agony, sputtering fragments of contempt, till the life drained from his eyes. My first victory against my old friend also took his life. And it all happened in the blink of an eye, hardly enough time to even register in my mind. Well, time for poison. My lord, what was all that commotion? What happened? Bit of poison. My lord, please stay with me. Were you poisoned? Someone, is anyone there? Yes, sir. Doctor, as quickly as you can. Aye. Well, my lord, please, my lord, a doctor will be here shortly. Please stay with me just a little longer. My lord. Odilon, you were right. I was stupid. Should have listened. Thought he was my friend, but he wasn't. Not anymore. Because we had once been friends, that made him my greatest threat. I don't know if we're going to hit a better stopping point than that. And I'm kind of getting hungry. So 50-50, that's a pretty logical stopping point. If this is how long the first of these parts is going to go on, holy jeez. I mean, look, I'm not complaining. I'm just in awe that we are still here. Why not? I'm hoping that the middle one, the second to last one there is probably like a chapter select for these. But then we also have reincarnation and short stories. I'm assuming extras is just going to be like a CG gallery, a music gallery. I'm assuming that's just going to unlock when we beat all the stuff. And it won't have extra hard content. But these are going to go. Again, this is not a bad thing. I just didn't quite grasp the scale of things. Yeah, we're probably going to be here a while. Again, not bad. The writing is still fantastic. I'm still really liking it, even though nothing good happens to anyone. But it's just more than I expected. Oh no, more of a good thing. How dare. For now, we gotta sell some monster. A quote. A Discord. I mean, I'm not doing that, Sora. Just cause.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Why? Don't know. Just felt like that one. But yeah, tomorrow, Silent Hill.
Nice.
Tuesday, 14. Thursday, Silent Hill. Saturday, Silent Hill. Sunday, if we're really close to wrapping up Silent Hill, we'll do more of that. If it seems like we're not right about to get like the final ending in that stream, we'll do more of this. And Monday's off in the air because I'm spending time with my brother, and I may be back in time for stream, and I may not. He's only up for 4 days, so I'm going to spend the time with him I can. Yes, because there's no MSQ, I figure that the regular 4 hours will give us plenty enough time to see the Monster Hunter questline, fight Arkfeld, and do the Hildebrand questline. If we have extra time, I might dabble in the new Deep Dungeon, but I'm not planning for that. As long as I get those 3 things done, the Monster Hunter storyline, the Monster Hunter regular fight, and Hildebrand, that is what I'm aiming for. But there's no new MSQ with this, no new raids other than like just the new trial, so I think we'll have more than enough time. So usually I start early because I can never tell how long MSQ and the raids are going to be, so it's going to be a regular stream time on Tuesday, because I'm pretty sure we can fit everything in there. And that means I get to still have pizza. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, thank you all for watching. This has been Viper of Viperland. That's the plan for the next few days. Sounds good to me. Hopefully great times. I'll see you all next time after I go wash my hands and get all the red off me.